Hello everyone and welcome to the PUBG Mobile America's Challengers. Joining me tonight is the insanely talented DK. Hello DK, are you ready for tonight? Day 2.
Yeah, I mean, pretty excited to see what day 2 is going to be bringing in. Yesterday already, as we know, the teams were popping off, going crazy. Today is going to be even more of that, right? Of course, we are getting closer to the end, right? One day closer. And of course, as we know, the teams will have even more pressure now being applied to them. Looking to see who can secure those points. Because also, like as I mentioned yesterday, I don't know why I said but hey, because why not, right? So yesterday we saw quite a few of the teams sitting towards the lower position of the overall standings, and we want to see everybody try today to try and rectify that, get the points in, and try and push for the top slots. Because as we know, only a few select teams can move forward, can take those steps in towards the finals itself. So if the teams want to make it there, they're going to have to earn it, and they're going to have to work their butts off here today.
Yeah, yesterday the scores were just unbelievable. Some of these teams I really expected to pop off. They did. And some of be near the top aren't so close to the top, DK. And I'm really hoping that we can see some of these teams move it on up for us. We've got several down in the lower bottom of that second page that I'm really shocked about. But all of these teams are extremely talented. All of these teams have great gun skills. Yesterday, we got to see some super impressive utility use gun skills. Here are our teams, DK.
Yeah, in case you missed it all yesterday, here we have the full lineup with all the teams without the groups, right? So we've got Wolves, we've got JP, you can see everybody on the screen there, all the way to Game On, as well as VRZ, Resilience, and then, of course, almost there. We just need a team that is called So Close.
Right?
Yes, they're so close. They're so close. They're almost there.
Yep, tonight we're gonna have the 5 groups swapping out again. So we'll have A, B, C, D, and E. We'll start off the first match with A, B, C, and D, and then we're gonna keep swapping them around. So when we get to the different teams and the different groups, we'll be able to tell you guys which ones are coming in, which ones might be leaving. But there are the gorgeous groups with other logos. Do you have a logo that sticks out to you, DK?
I would say the one in the square-ish block that with the rounded edges. That one. I'm gonna go for that one.
The one in the purple?
Yeah. The one with the green name underneath. I definitely say that team is going to be the team to watch here today. But you know what's also interesting that I've noticed is today, instead of starting on Erangel, apparently we are going to be starting over on Miramar and having Erangel as our second match. But of course, we'll see those coming up pretty soon as the teams will get the opportunity to showcase all the fantastic capabilities that they have. But so the problem is, of course, we want to see all the teams play on each of the maps the same amount, because that makes it exciting and everybody has then a fair opportunity to show exactly what they can do and how much gun skill they have alongside those strategies moving all throughout. But I think the interesting thing is, for a few of these teams that have not necessarily had that exposure to play against big names, we of course have quite a few big names in the lobby here, as we saw, taking a look at those teams. So I want to see how the teams are going to look to utilize that, right? Can they grow? Can they improve themselves to kind of match up with, the expectation of the lobby itself? Or are they going to have a little bit of a bumpy ride? I'm hoping to see them adjust and kind of really bring in that performance. But of course, only time will tell, because I can tell you one thing for free. Once we get into the finals, it's going to be crazy in comparison to what we have right here in League.
Yes. And we also have to consider the fact that we are going back and forth between the South America and the North America. So here, okay.
Yep.
So.
Yep. That's our map rotation for the day. So as far as we know, there's going to be 2 Erangels, 2 Miramars, and a Rondo, right? How they're going to come through, we'll find out. We'll see. It's a surprise for everybody, and we'll see exactly where these teams are going to get to drop down and how they get to move through all of it. But yeah, I think this is a very decent spread. The teams have a good opportunity to try and rectify whatever went wrong on the previous Erangel or the previous Miramar. But as we saw yesterday, Rondo is going to be that big kicker that is going to be the decider for who will be able to squeeze their way further and further up these rankings, and who will be the ones left back in the lobby eating popcorn, right? I mean, it'd be great to sit up here and eat popcorn. That's a fantastic one to have. But as we know, only a few teams can make it into that stage. So the pressure will be on. Influence rates, though, phenomenal day that they've had. 54 points, 3 ahead of iNCO Gaming. We did see also coming into that later stage, the team SALAME had a little bit more difficulty, right? They started off the day with an absolute banger performance. 2 back-to-back winner chicken dinners. So I'm expecting to see a lot more of that continuation come through today. Of course, they're the only team in the top 5 that has, compared to the others, not as many eliminations, but the placement points have been working out quite consistently for them. And of course, these are the beasts that have made all this insanity possible.
Influence Rage Lorenzen with 14 eliminations, DK 2,239 damage and 9 grenades, like we were talking about. The usage of the throwables yesterday, oh, it was insanely beautiful. I absolutely loved watching how they even one of those plays where we got to see him throw that molly to push him out along that wall line so that their off angle could go ahead and get that. That was beautifully played. I was so impressed. All of the usages that they use, because I've been watching a lot of PMSL, and there are some metas that don't seem to have a lot of usage of the throwables.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of a very situational thing, right? If you find yourself in a spot where the throwables are actually, I would say, handy, sometimes they are available and other times not so much. I think it all comes down to kind of what this strategy is that the team is looking to apply. Speaking about metas, though, a big play that we've been seeing, of course, developing across the board internationally was the usage of the shotties, right? There was a time where you would not even touch a shotgun. Now it's like people can't get enough of them, right? So S12K, DBS, those guns are really stepping up and doing quite a bit of hard work here. So it's good to see that everything is continuously evolving, right? The teams are always trying to find something better, something that can give them that edge and give them a bit of an opportunity ahead of the competition. But of course, there's going to be no difference moving into day number 2, right? We are going to be playing those 5 maps. Each of the groups will be playing 4 of the maps themselves, as they will be taking a bit of a break in between. You've already mentioned it. So we are going to be having the players from group, I believe, Group E, that is going to be sitting out in the first match. So Group E sits out in the first one, then it's Group D, then Group C, then Group B, then Group A. So we're working it backwards with who gets to take a bit of a break. But that puts the pressure on, right? Especially, I would say, for the teams in Group A, because once they get to game number 4, that's their last match. They know that they can't do anything beyond this, right? They have to bring everything to the table and hope that they've done enough, because when that last match comes around, the group that is coming in fresh definitely could have a slight bit of an advantage here. So I would be a little bit nervous, right? Trying to really focus and drive as much of those points in. But I think looking at the lobby that we have and how these teams have been playing the games yesterday, it's not going to be an easy one to pull off, right? These teams look to make it as tough and as challenging as they can, and also sometimes find us with a bit of a slow delay, right? Just waiting for a little bit more of a strategic position to be available.
Yeah, you were talking about that shotgun meta, and do you remember yesterday, I believe it was iNCO over in Minas Generalis, they were even running around at that very early hot drop stage with a sawed-off shotgun. That is something that I don't think I've seen that often.
Yeah. I mean, and it's good. Like, the shotties, they work for getting players in close quarter positions. It also works quite well for getting ducks, right? Who would have thought? So it's interesting how they're kind of using these things, and I think quite fortunately there aren't any ducks in PUBG. The closest things that we have to ducks, of course, are other players that might be ducking when you're pulling the trigger. But I have to say though, yesterday we didn't see a lot of DBSs coming through, but hopefully today, as we head into our first Miramar of the day, we could be seeing a little bit more of those shotgun dynamics getting utilized. Gotta say though, Green, a decent flight path to start us off with, unless of course you want to go down to Chumacera. If that is your drop location, good luck, because La Drillera is also quite a way away.
Yeah, I do see that cluster of straight on Nepal. No, it's Zero Mercy and CP9. I thought almost there was in that cluster as well. So it maybe, I can't quite tell if there is another team over there in Impala, but it might be a hot drop right in there. El Azahar looks like might have some action. We do have a huge cluster over that San Martin area, so I think some of them are going over towards that farm area to get those cars right along that route down to Monte Nuevo. So, we have a pretty central but southern zone to start us off tonight.
Well, when you say southern, do you mean like Louisiana southern, or?
Well, we are down in the desert.
Okay.
All right,
yeah.
So let's see, DK. I see that we've got a lot of teams in that northern side that are going to have to push down into the teams that are on the northern side of that zone. So it's going to be interesting to see where these teams rotate, because even Alpha 7 is right on the edge, the northwest edge of that zone, with two teams to their north. We've got TGAMES and Savage Esports right up there in La Cabrera and Crater Field. So I don't know how some of these teams are going to make it in, but I do think that we're going to be seeing some of these teams gatekeeping to make sure that they don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely expecting Savage and TGAMES to maybe opt for a slightly more western rotation. As you can see, Monte Nuevo, La Drillera, rather, being quite open. So there is a good opportunity for teams to rotate towards that southern side. But it all comes down to what the kind of approaches that they've been working on, right? I mean, looking at Savage, looking at TGAMES, we could definitely see them getting into an engagement relatively early on. Speaking about engagements, though, it is going to be iNCO and JP. We did see them yesterday also fighting each other out on the battlefield. So now it's going to be that chance to see who will be the one to walk out of here, because yesterday JP had a very tough run right here up in Minas Generales. But now iNCO starting to move up. We got Vitali up on the roof trying to get a little bit of that Overwatch position going here. And I gotta say, this is a very bold decision, right? Trying to play a little bit more of that long range play, coming through with the M249. The recoil could maybe be a little bit of a trouble here, but we'll see.
I see Bernozen, though. It looked like he was right there with two of the team. Oh, it was double stacked. All right, so Bernozen does have a head-to-head with Al Ritmo.
Al ritmo. It means the rhythm.
Oh, does it? Thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what they were trying to say, but that's not necessarily the exact spelling of it. Don't quote me on that, because I don't really know, but I know what al ritmo is. It's the rhythm.
Well,
yes.
Let's see if he can get the rhythm against Bernozen, because we know that Bernozen can take care of himself over here. So it does look like the rest of his team, they are continuing to load up and try to gear up with the extra loot. They are running around fairly unequipped. We got level 1s right here. Oh, and 0 helmet on El Ritmo. So, yeah, I don't think he's in a big hurry to push. He does have that pump shotty, though, as we know that they do like these pump shotties in this.
Yeah, you gotta watch out. You gotta be careful, though. Maybe we gotta give El Ritmo a bit of a heads up there. You don't want to push in without a helmet on. But hey, if you don't have a helmet, make sure your head's in the right place, right? You got to get that play secured. And this is an interesting position to see both JP and iNCO just keeping it quiet, keeping it patient, right? Nobody's going to be looking to aggress unnecessarily, but at some point they will have to get something going here because we are approaching phase number 2. Yes, there's about 3 minutes and a bit of change left before we will make it all the way into there, but McGrellan up on the edge here. I think a good play for iNCO and for JP, either which one, would be to try and constrict that position, right? So for JP, like to try and tighten it up a little bit more on iNCO, and of course, the vice versa going over to the side of iNCO. It does seem like iNCO is indeed trying to do that. They are starting to push a little bit closer, closer in the wrong direction. Yes, as they put more distance in between themselves here and JP. But maybe this is a bit of a strategic repositioning, right? Trying to maybe wrap around OUTTA to come in on that more southern approach. And if they do, that would be a great opener for them.
Yeah, trying to get those off angles, trying to figure out exactly where they are. We do have Vitali. Oh, Vitali came down off of that lift, so he is down. Is trying to find one of them over here. We do have Bernozen though. I noticed that he only had the M12, and it would be M12 versus that shotgun. So he's in no hurry to try to push up. I'm guessing that maybe Ritmo might have let him know that he's got the pump shotty. Oh.
Well, let's see if Vitali can lock this one in. 249 in hand, 7-8. Coming in for a little bit of that assistance here. Let's see, can they get the jump? Well, OUTTA got a jump, but I don't think that was the kind of jump that they were hoping for, right?
He jumped out the window. That is not what I expected, DK.
Yeah, a very quick ticket back towards the lobby itself. So let's see now what Vitali can do. Can they get the rest of this ball rolling? Because already they got a few of those plays in, but the big question here is, how is JP going to look to respond to this, right? Already one player down. Now they have to try and reclaim a little bit of that territory. As we take a look over on towards the map, of course, there's no need for either of these two teams, well, to do anything because they are well within the zone. But if we do see the addition of Action or maybe Game On or even Luna, not to forget 6ix9ine up towards that northeastern side, if they start moving up and they pull into Minas Generales, it's going to be pretty tough for iNCO and JP.
Yeah, that northeast side, we've got a lot of teams coming in from that blue. So it's going to be interesting because they may end up right here on top of these two teams already. And you know that we've seen a lot from Action Esports yesterday. So if they hear this fight going on, I have a strong feeling that they'll come in for this third party. But look at this, DK. We've got the SALAME over here with the Wolves.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a treat trying to tease them, but as we know, we do have Coops right here. So let's see what is going to happen for the Wolves. Are they going to be able to get the jump? Team SALAME, of course, yesterday, as I've already mentioned, they had a very strong showing within those first 2 games. I mean, they were able to uphold quite a bit of that consistency going into the later few matches themselves, but it didn't go exactly the way that we saw it play out in the first 2. So I'm hoping to see a little bit of a comeback on that approach, right? To see that pressure being applied here. So JJKK from yesterday is now Baton with all the J's and the K's included in there. So thank you so much for that clarification, because it's much easier to say Baton than it is to say just kidding.
Just kidding. Yeah, the Wolves are one of the teams that really surprised me on the placement points coming out of yesterday. They are on the bottom of that second page. And it's just really surprising to me. But as we know, the Wolves like to test all the different teams. The one thing about this America's Challengers is that not many times do North America, LATAM, and South America get to go head to head. Ooh, in the push. And El Ritmo trying to get those shots off with that shotty. So now the fight has broken out over here in Minas Generales. So Bernozen still, he does find an Unuzi, but he still does not have a helmet. He's not excited about pushing up without a helmet either, because he knows that El Ritmo does have that shotty, and El Ritmo has let him know several times. I've heard this shotty at least twice.
Well, we'll see how this one is going to play out for our squads here as they now get themselves ready. It is going to be iNCO trying to maybe lock a little bit of something down here. I'm very surprised that JP hasn't tried to capitalize on the opportunity made available to them. But so far, it does seem like El Ritmo is at least cooking up a little bit of something here. Things are looking pretty grim, though, for JP. El Ritmo just needs to try to find the rhythm, find the way, and get them all back into the lobby. But the blue is going to be adding a lot of pressure here to them. So let's see whether or not Vitaly and the rest of iNCO can look to respond to this. I mean, one nade, one good place nade could end that whole engagement. But unfortunately, El Ritmo doesn't have the necessary gear in their bag. Meanwhile, Alpha 7 getting absolutely bullied here for no apparent reason as 9Z just keeps on hitting. As you can see, Alpha 7 trying to bring their numbers back up, but it is going to be a pretty tall order as Guizo also goes right on down. Remix locking in the play. Aritmo just patiently awaiting the angles, hoping to see if they can find that finishing play now up into iNCO. But I like what iNCO's doing here, Green. They're pushing up, using that team formation, sending out the nades, and that's all they need to slam dunk and close it up. Now, ooh, all right. Revo doesn't even want to drive the car the right side up. Just flips it on its roof, grinds on the nose, and goes like, yeah, I'll take the lobby.
Oh, that is the worst feeling in the world. And he got punished for that. Wheels up is never a good look on a car, especially in Miramar with it wide open. There's not a lot of cover, especially right here. So there it is, punished for that one. So we do have another couple of teams that are getting close. We've got TGAMES right up there with, I believe that is Faction Brazil towards that southern Picado area. And here we are, TGAMES and the DBS and Faction Brazil. Yeah, so that was a delivered 12-gauge sandwich. DoorDash.
Yeah, a different kind of door dash, but hey, you know what? Somebody has to dash through some kind of door to get those points secured. Speaking about dashing, Savage now starting to climb the hill here. As you can see, Franco, Goat, all the goats in one team. I mean, I don't know if there's enough grass on this map to support them, but hey, we'll find out soon enough. Meanwhile, Pixel and the rest continuing to just try and play for a little bit of high ground. I think for Savage, this could be a good call, especially seeing that we have another team right there alongside them. So again, caution has to be brought through here. Don't want to overextend the reach just yet, but also got to keep a tight angle on the ridge itself. But it does seem like they are prioritizing that zone positioning as they now start to move on up. Action also going to be looking for a little bit of something here as they look to find their next home for this phase. But hey, CP9, they're holding just over on the edge there as well.
Yeah, looks like he's going to back it on up because he's already hearing the fight between the two teams right on down below. And it not necessarily a fight, but, you know, they're trying to relieve each other of the helmets, of the vests, trying to get the damage down onto these gears so that it just one more shot is all they need. Oh, they come up over onto 9Z over at the Chumacera Abbey. So they did rotate quite a round away. So let's see what else we got going on. It looks like 9Z does have to move out of the Abbey. We did move our zone, and we are headed into zone 4. And we know that the blue does not play in this. So they do have to respect that blue. They have to get into zone a little earlier than we noticed yesterday, because we did see a lot of teams hanging out in the blue yesterday. I was kind of surprised about that.
Yeah, we did see quite a bit of that coming through. But now, who's going to be hanging out where? We do see 9Z hang out here on the edge. Of course, as Action gets ready for a little bit of that. Cole King also now just moving this way and that, looking for opportunities and angles to come their way. Of course, going to be trying to ride the ridges as best they can. But again, right, you want to try and get out of harm's way. And moving out of the blue is definitely the best way to do so. Action, meanwhile, only one elimination up. They definitely started doubling down on the effort, as we saw, especially passing game number 3 yesterday. So I'm curious as to whether or not today will be that day where they just let it all loose right from the beginning.
It looks to me like Action is thinking about pushing up over onto the Wolves. You can see that they are pushing down this hill. They are trying to get into zone. You can see that already, that one of them has gone across into the zone. Here comes the rest of the push, but they're waiting for the Wolves. They're trying to do the distraction play to get some of the Wolves to peek out. He can see, oh, he just saw him in that window, but the Gigantes, he held that shot. He's letting them know that there is somebody in that compound, but he did not get his position away. And I see that we do have a team coming in behind, so maybe that had something to do with it. And you can see that this part of the zone is getting very condensed with teams.
Well, I mean, that condensation, right, sometimes is a good thing, especially playing on a map like this. But let's see, can Game On get the game on as CP9 is right here in front of them looking for an angle, a push. Can they find the breach up to the top? Natalio has been brought down. Another player is very low on health. As we can see, Zoo not looking too great. Legend trying to just dip out, trying to get that off-angle approach, but things are still pretty uncertain. CP9, a good angle that they have here, but they're going to have to try and defend it because, let's be honest, Game On, well, they put their game on, and now it is looking pretty tough either which way. CP9 essentially down to a solo, but that would be enough to close it up, and with that, secure the position, at least for the time being.
All right, he might be able to get most of his players up, but Wolves is right across the street. You know that Wolves is hearing all this, and now here comes Luna right on top of, which team is that? iNCO. iNCO is right down below, and here comes KMC trying to get down in that ridge line. You can see that the nades are getting pushed right up and in. I can't see Nicole. Oh, Nicole goes down on the overextend, and iNCO answered, but that was a trade. So we have to figure out McGrellin. 7 is down. He's up to 3 eliminations, but Luna on this ridge line. Oh, right up that ridge.
Again, a lot of those shotties coming out here. So far, Luna holding up quite steadily like this for them. But now they are far from out of the woods just yet, right? There's still going to be quite a bit of pressure being applied to them. Meanwhile, CP9 also all the way to that far southern side. Action moved in alongside them. And this is, well, going to be maybe a little bit too much heat for them to handle. As you can see, CP9 down to a solo, at least for the time being, as a confirmation gets brought in. iNCO getting taken out there as well. Now, let's see whether or not Action can double down. CP9 having a very tough position to try and work with here. Not quite sure if Action knows where the player is at. They are going to start to try and clear out these compounds. But as we can see, it is going to be Nitui, this player over here, just chilling up top, right? Getting a nice little bit of elevation.
I noticed when Action was trying to push up that hill into CP9, they were using the nades, trying to push them back. They did get a nade knock and an elimination, but when they smoked that ridge line and started to push up straight out of Nepal, started to punish them with the shots from right across the street. So that slowed them down, brought them back, and now the two teams are still sitting there across the street from all 4 of them from straight out of Nepal.
Well, that is going to be a little bit of a play for them. Meanwhile, we do say goodbye to CP9, as you did see them getting picked up. Luna so far looking pretty good, though, got to say. 3 eliminations up. They also are going to be finding themselves with a decent setup in these compounds here. One of the very few positions that could be leveraged coming in onto the edge of that zone. 6-9 are on the approach. We do see, of course, Faction also holding nice and steadily around them, but it does seem like Luna are going to try and ward them off. A lot of major warning shots getting converted into knocks. Savage also yet to find their way in, but Green, I want to see what's going to happen here to Team Liquid, right? Because they have smack dab center zone. They have quite a bit of angles to work with here, but we've not seen too much coming in their direction, right? Only 1 elimination has been secured by them so far.
Look at that, too. Down at the south, the Wolves came in and finished off action. After all of that action, Wolves just pulled right up in on top of them. When Wolves, one of the teams that I was talking about down towards that bottom of the zone, are up to 6 eliminations now.
Yeah, well, there's so much action happening on the game here that we're struggling rather to keep up with it. You can see we are currently just buffering, so please wait. Off we go, hopping right back into the action here. You can see Luna and everybody now getting themselves prepped for a bit of an angle, right? Trying to get those vehicles into a more secure position, but the goal has been found. Let's see whether or not Luna can hold up. It is going to be, of course, Faction knocking on the door. 6ix9ine just laying into them. And I did say they got to watch out because 6ix9ine is on the approach. And so far, it seems like they're playing right into the hands of 6ix9ine.
Ooh, and here comes Savage Esports to get right into the middle of this as well. Savage Esports pushing right up into Faction Esports. We got Luna over here, but also Team Liquid is coming up on that other side. So we do have the 4 teams right over here. We've got all the nades. You can see Molly's coming out, and it is King of the Hill over here. Who's going to come out on top from these 4 teams that all want this uphill advantage site?
That is going to be the big question, and we don't quite know just yet. Of course, everybody is going to try and do everything that they can. Quick little push here, just quickly dipping up behind the vehicle. Savage super low on those health bars. Luna starting to move out. I think that's a very good call from them, but I don't quite know if the western side is going to be the best side as well, it doesn't seem like you can run your teammates over, right? You can try time and time again. But, yeah, that's a good thing, at least I would say, for the side of Faction Brazil. Now, Luna right here alongside, they've got to be very cautious, very careful how they look to push up, because Savage down to 2 players remaining. It's going to be Franco and Numero, but could be Numero Uno very soon.
Yeah, we also have Straight Out Nepal and Team Liquid, and then the 3rd and 4th and 5th, 6th party, I don't even know, since we have 4 teams up at the top and 2 teams shooting at the top. So is that 6 or 7? I don't even know. But we have 7 teams in here, and I think the King of the Hill is getting shot from all 6 other teams. So it is a difficult spot, but this is prime real estate. Beautiful shots coming over here from...
Oh! Yeah, Numero went from, yeah, it's now numero uno, right? Numeros uno. That is what we have coming through for the side there of Savage. Wolves, though, 6 eliminations strong, looking pretty good. They have the numbers, but can they lock it out, right? They have a little bit of a position to try and play through here. It is going to be Luna. Now, trying to pick up the pieces, forced onto the edge, trying to gain that entry point, but Savage is going to be holding up the front line alongside Faction, but Faction feeling the heat as well. That sting coming through. VRZ are going to be the next team to experience a little bit of a challenge here. As you can see, the Wolves now getting picked off. VRC really utilizing the living goodness out of these ridge lines, and this is the kind of approach you need to take if you want to get your hands on that very tasty winner chicken dinner.
I did see that Luna tried to pull away from the King of the Hill, trying to get a better position, but the zone moved away from Luna, so Luna was pushed back into it. And when they came back into it, they were punished because it did go across that street. So they had to push across not only the hilltop, but down in the valley, across the street, and back up into the mix of the 3 teams that were currently in the fight, and also the prime target of all the rest of the teams that are not right there on the top of that hill. We are down to the top 5 teams, and our statistics are out, DK. They are calling the Wolves at 28-27%. What do you think of the Wolves positioning downhill? I'm not so sure. DK. Especially now that
pretty tough one.
They're not even in zone, DK.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough angle. Of course, that zone is going to apply quite a bit of pressure here to them. So I'm not quite sure how they're going to look to bounce back from this one. It is going to be a pretty tough play, but they still have Doran in the mix here. Of course, they've got Coops in there as well. Now, straight out of Nepal are going to be trying to ride the ridge. They've got quite a bit of controlling position in this current zone. I think the only team to contest them here is going to be Team Liquid when it comes to possession. Meanwhile, we do see VRZ and everybody else still trying for a little bit of something on the angles here. The zone, these hills proving to be extremely tough. But now, Savage, up they come. Numero uno is going to be Nada. As they get taken down, off they are. Team Liquid, though, sitting with their second elimination up. It is going to be all down to Chief to see if they can hold the fort. And quite literally, they will have to, because there are so many teams trying to gain a little bit of a foothold in the zone.
Now, straight out of Nepal has had this position on that eastern edge for quite a few zones now. The zones are closing down and around them, but that ridge line is prime real estate. And I do see that straight out of Nepal is now up to 50%. So the statistics are also thinking, yeah, they might be onto something here, because we got 3 teams over on that western edge. We have VRZ, we have the solo from Team Liquid, and Wolves are down to just to do, we no longer have VRZ. We no longer do.
Yep.
Down
they go.
3. So straight on Nepal, still in that beautiful position, and we still have Wolves over here with the solo from Team Liquid, Team Liquid.
Yep. It's Team Liquid. So we've got a beautiful 1, 2, 3, right? You can see Wolves with 2. So straight out on the ball coming through with a 3-piece. The odds are leaning quite heavily in their favor. So we just wait to see if that is going to become a reality. Now, Team Liquid, Chief has been able to survive quite a little bit out here on the edge. But straight out on the ball, this could be their opportunity to go for gold. Wolves trying to figure out how they're going to make this work, right? So looking at Coops and Doran, they're trying to get a good read. But again, if you can't see the opposing teams, it doesn't necessarily mean that they can't see you. All it means is that you don't have the info you need to make an educated or informed decision here. But now Wolves are going to have to find a way, especially if that zone moves a little bit more to the eastern side. Not only will straight out of Nepal be absolutely zone blessed, but they could also be chicken blessed, right? They could have a whole lot of feathers coming their way as well.
I see Chief is out going around. He went out of the zone, and I think he's going to wrap around and try to come up behind the Wolves and surprise the Wolves. This is Doran and Coops. I'm not so sure that they're going to be able to be that surprised, but Wolves do seem to be pretty focused on straight out of Nepal. We have noticed yesterday that not many of these teams get tunnel vision. They've seemed to be really good. As we speak, Doran already throwing the nades in Team Liquid's position. Chief now trying to move out and around, but Chief is going to answer him with some nades of his own. So we do have a 1v2 fight over here, and straight out Nepal is very interested in where these players place themselves. That nade taking Chief down to about half hour. What a nade, and there he goes out. But now here comes the rest of the nades from straight out of Nepal down onto the Wolves. Tell me, DK, call it. What are you thinking? 63-37.
Well, I mean, it is looking pretty good for straight out of Nepal. So let's see if they can drive it all the way home. Now, a little cheeky approach coming through here from Blaze. This could be quite a bit of an opener for them, as we do see the head connecting up. That is going to be Coops down. And now it's going to be down to Doran to see if they can hold steady, but the pressure continues to build. XP3 holding on the side. The utilities now starting to fly on in. We did see what those nades do with the health bars. They do take quite a bit of a chunk, quite a bit out of that, and Doran denies the point. It is going to be Wolves having to settle for second place. 9 eliminations is what they get back for this match, but what a way to go. Now, of course, straight out of Nepal, going straight into that winning slot, getting themselves that winner chicken dinner, and boy, does it taste good.
Oh, I'm sure they are enjoying that tasty dinner. Well played, I gotta say. They held that ridgeline. They held on to what was happening. They knew where the teams were. They were keeping an eye on what was going on with the fight. As soon as the fight broke out between the Wolves and Team Liquid, Straight Outta Nepal started answering with all their utilities. Beautiful, beautiful place.
Yep, it was indeed. But now, of course, we got to take a look and see just how beautiful the point situation is. We'll get into that very, very soon. But I got to say, the Miramar, very exciting, of course. We did see quite a few teams now looking to step up the overall performances that we saw coming into the first few games yesterday, right? Like Luna, I would say, was also quite a well-performing squad here. Did they find themselves in a sticky spot? They did. But I mean, it is looking better. We are seeing teams that we were expecting to see yesterday really starting to shine a bit more so. And so I want to see how that is going to translate moving into the second, third game, and of course the rest of the day. But speaking about which, here we have that winning team breakdown. As you can see, Straight Outta Nepal coming through with their representation. Oliver, the only one that got no eliminations or knocks. But hey, getting that 101, right? Doing damage 101.
And you can see that Blaze and XP3, both big fraggers for Straight Outta Nepal. They were putting in the work. We got XP3 with 3 eliminations, 3 grenades, and 707 damage. And then we've got Blaze with 2 eliminations, 2 grenades, and 908 damage. That's a lot of damage between these. So you know they were putting in the work. May not have equal to the eliminations, but they were working it.
Yep, they were definitely working it hard. And of course, as we can see here, it is going to be those match standings to see where the teams find themselves. There's going to be glorious 16 points going over to Straight Outta Nepal. Wolves coming hot in on their heels with 15, Faction on 11, and then VRZ. I mean, we've got to give them a round of applause, right? So far, this has been one of their best games that we've seen in all that we've had in this league stage. So got to commend the effort here. They, of course, will secure themselves double-digit points on board. Gonna love it. Savage, they tried. Liquid, they also tried. But as we saw, the lobby had other ideas. And, of course, speaking about other ideas, there are 4 teams that walk away empty-handed, unfortunately. But we have our map here as well, of course. That was game numero uno, done and dusted. Straight Outta Nepal, walking away with the chicken. So with Miramar done, it means that next up, we are going to be heading into a little bit of that Erangel action.
Yes, and Erangel, the most played map in PUBG. All these teams, they call Erangel home. They have their homes. They have their rotations. They've got it all down. And we saw a lot of chaos yesterday. In fact, Team SALAME, if you noticed on that leaderboard, they came in with a goose egg. So let's see what's going to happen next, and we will be right back. Hello everyone and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile America's Challengers. DK, our leaderboard changed. We got iNCO at 55, Influence Rage at 54, Alpha 745 for the top 3. We've got a lot of downs on that right side though. But Wolves, they decided they didn't like that second page, so they switched over to the first page. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, they started howling, right? They were like, they looked at the moon and they said, you know what? It's about time. Let us empower ourselves and get this party underway. They came for it. They tried to apply as much as they could. And I think they did a pretty decent job, right? I mean, 25 points is not a bad spot to be in, but I want to see more from everybody, right? I want to see CP9 look to push it even harder. I want to see just how far these teams can take it. So the pressure is going to be on. But the question is, who will be allowed to do that coming into the next match? Because as we know, we are going to be seeing another team now join us on the battlefield. So Group D, they are going to be sitting this one out. So that would be Luna, Team Liquid, Game On, Savage, as well as VRZ. But coming back is going to be Influence Rage, Dauntless, Resilience, as well as Almost There. But I got to say, though, I want to see Dauntless today, right? I don't know what they have to do, but they have to do something. Because I want to see Dauntless play an aggressive game, right? I want to see them play a strong strategic approach. And I want to see those points at least triple. Because they had 4. I mean, tripling 4 points, putting them on 12, that's not impossible. But I want to see it.
But we do know that we can have some big points coming out of this match. If Dauntless can just get that momentum going, and some of these other teams down on that second page just get their momentum coming into this match and move up these boards. We saw that half of that map, or half of the scores were yellow on that right side, meaning that they didn't move.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something that you want to try and have happen too often, right? The ideal would be to try and secure as many points as you can. We did see a strong effort being brought through into the first game, but now getting ready for a little bit of that Erangel engagement. I want to see the teams double down. I want to see everything let loose. And speaking about let loose, let's let these players loose out on the map, as we are going to be coming through from Primorsk, heading all the way across to shooting range. So this time, it's going to be an interesting one. I mean, are we going to have some hot drops? I don't know. But yesterday I said I want to see a little bit of that Heaven getting played, and I was blessed with a bit of a Heaven. So big thank you to whoever made that possible. But now the big question is, Green, where are we going to go for our first Erangel today?
I'm feeling we're going over to that eastern edge again. I just feel like that pole is over there. But also, DK, you were pretty excited about all the cars ramps right up and over Heaven. We got to see that perfect angle. That would be fun to see it again today, because we had 2 or 3 teams up there already when that crash came raining down from above. Oh, we are not going. Look at that first zone, DK. We're going up to that northwestern edge today. We have Zarky in zone. And remember yesterday, Zarky had 2 teams in it, and Alpha 7 went up there to grab some nuggets themselves. And Alpha 7, I believe, came out of Zarky with like 7 eliminations, if I'm right, if I remember right. Look at that. Alpha 7 already snooping that Zarky area. But look over towards the school, Rozhok, Watertown. That is a cluster.
I mean, that is, but I was more fixed on that southern side right here with Dauntless being presented with a bit of a challenge, right? We've got action right here alongside them. So a big welcome to them joining us for their first match. The pressure is going to be on. Also for, I think, straight out of Nepal, right? Looking to see if they are going to suffer from that thing that we see happen quite often. A team getting a winner chicken dinner, and then come the next match, they play completely different. And then they are usually the first team to get backed up and shipped out. So we'll see whether or not Straight Outta Nepal can continue with that momentum. But speaking about momentum, you said Dauntless. Once they find it, they can really look to drive it home. So I want to see all of that. But now they are packing all their players into one single vehicle. It is a risky decision. But hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do if you only have one car to move around it.
That always just makes my anxiety go like crazy. But they are deciding, I feel like they're going to go up this western coast and just go ahead and get closer to zone. Try to get some of those car spawns up along that edge. And wow, that ballot. Ooh, it was Banger that got that knockover onto ACT in the moving vehicle. So Dauntless, this is a really good momentum start for them, so this is pretty exciting. So let's see if they can, what they can do. It looks like they might be just going up to get some more loot and try to get looted up better. I'm not sure if they're going to rotate down and around. It looks like they're going over to the car spawn. Gonna go ahead and get prioritize vehicles. That was a mouthful for me.
Well, they're gonna have to get something done. I'm just gonna mute quick because the sneezes are coming. Wait, see, now that I spoke about it, it's not happening. There we go. So that's fine. That's fine. But at least, yeah, the teams, especially Dauntless, will have to get some loot, right? Because unfortunately, the game works in that way where you kind of need loot, right? You need weapons. You need something to fight with. Otherwise, it will prove to be quite challenging. But Rozog, at least for the time being, is fully under the control here of Influence Rage, as we can see. Of course, this being their first match for the day as well. So a few fresh faces out on the battlefield. I'm curious whether or not Influence Rage are going to look to reclaim a little bit of that ground, right? They've got moved down into second place. Oh, look at little boy with that the crown and everything on top. Yep, that's where we'll see whether or not they can crown themselves as the top team in the lobby here today. But the pressure is going to be on, because I got to say, if Team Salame plays like they did yesterday, they could have quite a bit of a response to that Influence Rage chaos.
Yeah, here we are over towards that eastern edge of Mount Everest. We do have all those teams over towards that Rossock school area, and so Team Salame, I'm sure they know that Ruins is a good place to call home, but we've already got a team over here. It looks like we have Luna. Luna is coming up into the Ruins as well. So Luna, no, it's not Luna. It is Resilience. I thought that was Luna for this. Sorry, everyone. But Cardi Z, there you go. Taking those shots over at that church from the Ruins.
You know why it says Cardi C? Because B was already taken, right? So you got to keep just go for the next letter in the alphabet. It makes perfect sense. But let's see if their resilience is going to pay off here. Because, I mean, looking at the setup that they have in Ruins, Resilience, not a bad spot. But now, can they leverage that? Can they find a little bit of that Salame? Because if I'm looking at Salame, they're taking a spread, right? They have that eastern position. They have the western position. And if Salame decides they can bring those two slices of bread in and kind of sandwich Resilience in between.
Yeah, I do see that they're getting those split plays going on. But it looks like they went up and around on that bridge and went ahead and rotated away from Ruins. It looks like they decided to go ahead and give the Ruins up to Resilience, and they're headed further to the north. So maybe the zone might be calling to them to go up further towards that Georgia Pole area. They are calling.
I'm curious about
home,
it though,
or that center zone home.
Yeah, I'm very curious about it to see what their approach is going to be here. Wolves, though, they're going to be locking down the edge of zone. As Straight Outta Nepal is going to be losing their second player so far, so it's up to only the final few hopefuls here, as we can see them situated up and around that school area. JP and a few other teams also yet to get their butts in zone, but they have a minute and a bit of change left before they really have to focus on those rotations. But I would say, especially looking at iNCO all the way in Yasnaya Poliana, maybe a play up towards the far north could be a good angle, right? Coming through from that school position, depending, of course, on where this next zone is going to be taking us. But I see 9Z, though, they're going to have their hands full, right? They've got T-Gaming and Action in very close proximity, so they're going to have to do a lot of scouting here if they want to feel comfortable.
Yeah, 9Z is coming up right behind Wolves, coming up right behind straight on Nepal on that southeastern edge, and I feel like we're going to have a fight there. I also feel like we might have a fight at the Yasnaya West Bridge, where we had iNCO coming in from Yasnaya into Influence Rage. So we've got a lot of areas where we can see some really head-to-head action from these top teams. These are such big name teams in this lobby.
Well, let's see if those big names are going to grant them anything. My hope to that is no. Right? We don't want to see them get any special treatment. We want to see everybody having to work for what they get now. It's going to be CP9 looking to work their way down the mountain as they continue to push. Now just coming in onto that southern side of the container yard. Meanwhile, Influence Rage up towards the edges here. Wolves also just hugging the edge of Rozhok. They got the scent of something, right? You can see they're looking, then they're like, hang on. Somebody was here, right? Where exactly? I don't know, but let's follow the trail. Maybe we can find them. Speaking about finding, it is going to be Dauntless and 9Z that could be finding each other out in the fields here.
Yeah, I see that Wolves came in as a trio, and now they are down to just a duo, getting punished on that Rozhok rotation. Claws being really careful over here by the hospital, working these ridge lines, trying to figure out if there's anybody home. And we can see that we got almost there in that upper right-hand corner by the hospital. Oop, and there it goes. Finding almost there. Finding Claws, getting him down to about 5 HP. And here comes another team right on top of them. It is T-Games. So now we've got all these teams out in this field, the wide open fields of the hospital south of Everest, and Claws just making it across that street. That scouting mission, is anybody out there? Yes.
Well, let's see if that always sounded like you were calling for some things like, is anybody out there? Who's there? A whole lot of people. That's who. We can see iNCO going for that very northern rotation. I think they heard me, but I didn't mean that, right? But hey, maybe the north could work out for them. We'll see how that is going to pan out, especially with the zone focusing up into South George itself. Now, I think Everest here could maybe be a little bit of an advantageous angle to play through, but now with INF looking to move into that container yard, they could really look to establish quite a bit of a dominating angle into that eastern side of zone.
And I noticed that iNCO traveled all the way up from that western Yasnaya bridge, all the way up and around shooting range to come into that western edge of North Georgia Pool. So it feels to me like iNCO is waiting for some of these players to go down a few before they actually come into the fight. So iNCO, I feel, is playing very strategic today, whereas yesterday we got a lot of action from iNCO. iNCO was really chasing these teams along the blue edge. They were just riding that edge all the way around into zone, and now today we're seeing a different iNCO.
Well, we'll see straight out on the ball right here, holding themselves steady, but looking for a little bit of something out in the blue. I mean, Wolf, yeah, that's a tough spot to be in. Not quite sure if they're going to be able to do anything. Got to watch out for that damage. But JP, I like the controlling angle that they have here. Going to make it super tough now, and potentially going to be looking to punish straight out of Nepal for any discretions that they might have brought through here. The shots ringing out that window, but of course making all that noise is going to be drawing in the players potentially there from the faction who we saw not too far away. So yeah, you'll be doomed if you don't, but doomed if you do. So let's see how these players will choose to get themselves situated.
big fight over here with A7. Look at all the players right around this, and I'm not even sure who is up in this house. I can't quite tell because we've got players everywhere. Look at this. He's trying to cover, and it looks like 6x9 if I'm right, but 6x9 is by the Witcher Tower. And there it is. There it is. We can see it now. It is Zero Mercy in a fight with Alpha 7.
Well, Soma now trying to play full elevation here at Zero Mercy. Start to move up looking for the angles. But it is going to be a pretty tough one, though, because, I mean, Alpha 7 holding down that eastern side is not going to make it easy for them to go anywhere. Now, 9Z looking to dip far down towards that southern side. We do say goodbye to 6-9 as they make their way out. But this is going to be Mafioso and the rest of Alpha 7 now applying all the heat that they can find here. Few beautiful nades up the window. Effortless explosion onto Ninja. Then is one down, a few more to go. Not quite sure if Frog and the rest of the team there will be able to survive that onslaught coming through from Alpha 7 now.
Yeah, because now we're really getting pushed up on. You can see that we've got Zero Mercy in this one apartment building, and Alpha 7 is surrounding them, and they are dominating the nades in through each of these windows. And here comes the push by Mafioso and DBS, S12s all around for A7, pushing up these stairs. You know that the apartment stairs are brutal to begin. Oh, what a nade! What a nade across from the houses into the apartments right on top of Zero Mercy. And there goes the last of Zero Mercy. Mafioso is down, but Alpha 7 can get him up with 5 eliminations.
Yep, Mafioso is down, but surely not out yet. Now, Team Salame trying to lock it down as action starts to move up. We can see, of course, TGAMES holding just towards their south as well. So quite a bit of tension starting to build over on towards the edge of zone here. Not quite sure why the teams chose this position to get the ball rolling. But you know what? Action is action. Almost there. Also going to be holding just over towards the east there. So 4 teams essentially in position here, looking for a little bit of something, but nothing going to pan out just yet.
Ooh. He was peeking that, and we did have action say, peek me again. You can hear it loud. And there goes CP9 going out in 13th place. Whoa! Oh, from Mount Everest all the way down. Action. And now Dauntless going out. It is going into Zone 5, and we know that Zone 5 is, from that on, it is the top fragger of the match each and every time. If these teams do not move into Zone, they are going out to the blue. And our Zone does move over to the Georgia Pole crates and Mount Everest. So not only do we have crates, but we also have the mountains. So we've got upper, we've got hard cover, we've got chaos along the ridgelines.
What was that? It's like, oh, look, there's a car. Let's crash into it and say, how you doing? But, yeah, I mean, it's looking very interesting. TGAMES also trying to find their little share of the action here up on Everest as they start to climb on through. But Resilience with a very effortless spray down does find one. Now, can they find the last? As we can see, Pedrin holding steady. Action behind them. It is just chaos and carnage all over the place. But now Action, well, they need to try and build up a bit of a domino effect here, right? If they want to take over the position from Resilience, they're going to have to lock in and they're going to have to spray it down, because Almost There will also look to apply a little bit of their own pressure coming through from that northern side.
And we got the nades coming up and over, trying to push Resilience back from this ridgeline, but they are hunkered down. They are holding it down, but now here comes 9Z. 9Z coming up right behind Resilience. So now Resilience is finding themselves where TGAMES just was, in the middle between the two aggressive teams. Action does like to come up and in on these third parties, But now here comes 9Z from the top of the hill with all the side. Oh, Resilience getting hurt, finding that right behind that edge, and Resilience should get picked back up. But 9Z is right up there on top.
Well, let's see whether or not 9C can lock this one down. Meanwhile, Influence trying to clear up the container yard as they are going to be looking to just bombard their way into position. Almost holding nice and steady on the edge here. Not as good of a position as they think it is, right? If you can see the tree, doesn't necessarily mean that the opposing side can see it too. But now, INF looking to clear it up bit by bit. They know that there's a few intruders in their midst. Can they find Kado and the rest of the players here from Team Salame? This is, of course, Team Salame's opportunity, right? They have the chance now to lock it in and get those points and bring back the chaos and carnage they showed us yesterday.
This kind of zone always gives me a lot of anxiety because we've got all these different aspects to it, and we are getting ready to go into Zone 6. Blue zone is going to push you in no matter which decision you make. Are you going to stay and go out to that zone? Are you going to go into that wide open space? Do you have the smokes needed to get across that wide open space? Plus, you have the birds of prey at the top of Mount Everest, which at the moment I believe are still a 9Z.
Well, let's see who will be the one to get the job done here. Alpha 7, Influence Rage. They're going to be trying to get a good angle here. iNCO going for a little bit of a swim here. They need to try and cool down, right? That's why they put their floaties on and went for a bit of a splash. But Alpha 7 is right there alongside them. The Wolves, though, they've just been big chilling over there, right? They've just been holding in the compound, waiting steadily for something. In the meantime, Gaizo is going to go fishing. So does Mafia. So they find themselves a few big fish in the water. It is, of course, iNCO. Now, Bruno, the last one left there on the far side, is going to try and respond in kind, but unfortunately not being able to secure those hits.
Yeah, we did get Reba knocked, and hopefully we can get him picked back up. But these fish under the bridge are so easy to pick off from some of these shoreline snipers. Ooh, this is a tough zone, DK, because we still have, you can see that we still have the river in here. We are coming down off of Mount Everest. And as you said, Wolves is happy campers over there at that Crates Recall compound. So I feel like 9C, you can see right here that Milo is looking over towards that Wolves compound. So Wolves may be getting some unexpected guests at any moment.
Yeah, they definitely could. But now, is that going to be the player coming in from 9Z? I mean, you said that they were looking at the compound. Now they're testing the waters to see if it is going to be a safe rotation. In the meantime, Alpha 7 also just moving a little bit closer. We can see iNCO, or at least what is left of iNCO, also just holding on the ridge towards the north there. So if the Wolves get caught out in the open, it could be either 9Z or, of course, iNCO that could sneak in those cheeky plays. But iNCO, Bruno, has not found anything just yet. iNCO, they need a few points here if they want to stay at the top of the board. But looking at INF, I mean, Green, they just looking to double down on the aggression. Meanwhile, Alpha 7, they need to clear out this northern coastline. Bruno just there, holding steady, playing a serious game of, nope, not yet. Up comes the push. Alpha 7 on the edge. Revo trying to open it up and grab that can of worms.
Oh, that nade. Oh. Bruno trying to hold him off with that nade, but that aggressive push by Revo with all the off angles from the Rasta Alpha 7. That was not going to happen. Wolf is getting found and right up on that outer edge of zone. They're just right there on that edge of blue. Not the play, but the blue zone. These boys do need to move in with with the smoking cars. Those cars are not going anywhere, so it's going to be interesting to see what Almost There can do to get in. And we do have Team Salami right down below, keeping an eye really close onto them from those shacks.
Well, let's see if those shacks could maybe work out. It is going to be a pretty tough one. Little boy being quite emboldened up on the top of those containers. The sprays could really start connecting up soon. But now, Alpha 7 going to look to open up a bit of an opportunity here.
Okay.
Wolves will now get rushed. 9Z going to be flying right in. And you can see the hits just flying left, right, and center. Wolves down to one single player. 9Z doing a lot of hard work here, but can they do enough to secure this compound and at the same time make sure they're in a safe place?
Yeah, Influence Rage just really keeping an eye on this. That Molly coming right up and through that door. But Influence Rage is keeping an eye on this as a third party does take one of them down from 9Z. So Wolves, Baton is the last one still standing. He does have that pump shotty, but Remix is the only one standing. Remix, throw some smokes, please. My anxiety. Out there in the middle of nowhere. There is nothing in the zone, DK. We barely have a tree, a rock, but we do have a road that they're gonna have to cross. So I don't know what they're gonna do. And here comes the stuns.
That was a beautiful flash. I mean, iNCO ran right into, or iNCO, Influence Rage ran right into that one. Let's see whether or not Salame can pick it up. Can they do what they have to at this point? It's going to be low, beautiful spray into Kratos. Things are looking a little bit shaky here. Oh, the shotty, the S12K just getting driven right in there. But look at this off angle coming through from Diego. This could be golden for them. Influence Rage now having a pretty good read on the situation. Meanwhile, it is going to be the players from the side there of Team Salame that are going to be looking to secure the position. Diego, good reach. But will they be able to get out of this, right? Is the zone going to allow them to stay over here? Or will they have to move a little bit more up onto towards that eastern side? Well, the answer is none of the above, because now the zone pulls in onto itself. So it's going to force everybody to fight for possession of the zone.
And there's nothing in this zone, DK. There is nothing. You can see right here where the 9Z GLOBANT has taken over from Wolves is now out of zone. And all of the teams have sight lines across. Alpha 7, I feel like, has the best angle. They can move along this ridge line, but once the zone starts to move, they have to give up this ridge line, and there's only a flat street in front of them. So no matter which way they go, this is going to be brutal coming into these final few zones. We do have the team over in crates. We have Diego, but I don't feel like Diego, where he was positioned, was able to help his team, because we had Team Salame come up right up onto his player and take him down with that shotgun, and Diego did not have the sight line. So all these plays.
Oh, here we go. It is going to be Alpha 7 now looking to get off this ridge. They won their position in the zone. They are going to try and push, but the shots continue to raid on through. And you got to watch all the angles. The entire zone is now just lit up with gunfire all over the place. 9Z getting picked up, as you did see. Remix now having to find an alternate approach to get in. It's going to be Influence Rage just being an absolute menace here, firing the shots under the guard to finish them off. Out goes 9Z down to the top 3. It is Alpha 7. It is, of course, then the players coming through from Team Salame and Influence Rage left to duke it out for that winner chicken that everybody now just hugging the edge of the zone. And of course, as you said, there's no positions in the zone itself. If this next phase is going to be pulling to that eastern side, or even just more in on itself, these teams are going to be in a world of pain, Green.
Oh, my heart goes out to the these players, look through this scope. There is nothing but wide open space. There's not even a rock for these players. Most of these players have lost their hardcover or lost their vehicles, so they no longer have the hardcovers. We have a full team of A7 behind one rock, DK. One rock. So now it did pull over to Alpha 7. So now Influence Rage and Team Salami both have to push into Alpha 7. Alpha 7 just shot up to 40%, but they are behind. All three of them are behind one rock. And look at that, Revo. Revo already starting to punish them from across that wide open space.
Let's see now. Can they actually cross the space? Can they close the gap? It is going to be a tough position, though. But they don't have much choice here. They're going to have to move forward. As you can see now, the players there from Team Salame are going to be picked up. Alpha 7, they tried to clear the way. It is a very risky approach. The only cover they have is the drop and a few vehicles ahead of them. But now Diego trying to clear up the edge. They do find the play, and that is it. Team Salame getting back out of here now. Alpha 7, Revo trying to heal on the edge. Guizor gets spotted down. They go now. It is down to Obscure and Revo to see if they can survive the onslaught. Influence Rage now going full force. Obscure taking so much damage. That drop being an absolute blessing, but not in the way that we normally see it with players getting an upgrade on their gear. Instead, it does provide the coverage they need to hold on in the zone. Influence now having the tables getting turned against them. Diego found, and down they go. Influence down to Law. One player standing between Alpha 7 and a winner chicken dinner with 13 eliminations.
And here comes the nade. I think that might have been, more nades, but the nades are coming up short, DK, and they are taking those shots. Law gets Revo taken down. So now it is a 1v1, but they do have that drop to sit behind and get that res off because Law is not moving. Even though he got that knock, and a car right behind him, he is allowing Alpha 7 to pick up Revo. Revo, of all players, is getting back on his feet.
Green, this is going to be a very crazy play here, but now it is going to be Law trying to do something here. You can see those utilities getting scary close, but not quite all the way there. Obscure trying everything. Revo is going to be on Overwatch, but can Law back this one? It is going to be a pretty tough hurdle to try and get through, but the zone is going to force their hands. Ooh, you got to be very careful with these peaks. Just trying to whittle away at their health bars. That is Obscure down. It's now a 1v1. Revo versus Law to see who will bag that winner chicken dinner. Unfortunately, the DBS not that good at such a long range. But let's see how this one pans out. Now, this is the only option that Law has, right? Only the DBS. They're going to have to push forward, and this could get their ticket punch. This Law goes down to the blue. Oh, the big bad blue zone wrapping the map up for us, but we have our winner. And, of course, what a way to close it out. Alpha 7 taking home the bacon.
Imagine running out of 5.56. Right there when you need it the most. And I bet when he started to try to take those shots across at A7 to get that elimination, they heard it. They had to have known right there and then that he was down to the DBS. Oops.
Yeah, the DBS indeed. I mean, it is such a tough spot to be in, like finding yourself with your hands in your pockets and there's nothing you can do, right? You just got to sit there and hope and pray that the spray from the DBS can cover the distance. As we saw, the answer was, unfortunately, no. It doesn't quite make it. But what we do know is, of course, the breakdown for the squad here of Alpha 7. As you can see, Revo bringing in 5 eliminations alongside Mafioso as well. Quite a bit of damage being brought through by Revo, though, hitting 1,000 damage. Of course, Obscure also bagging that Elam. Guizor securing 1. Quite a bit of damage. But if you look at the position they had in zone, right, how they were kind of trying to play those last few phases, it makes perfect sense, right? They were an absolute menace to this lobby.
23 total points for this one Erangel match for Alpha 7. That's going to really change up the leaderboards for this match. But coming in second, Influence Rage. And you got to feel when he runs out of ammo right at the end. If he would have just had one more clip, I think that would have been a completely different ending. Influence Rage coming in with 15 total points.
Yep, 15 is going to be the golden number right here. But of course, Alpha 7, when a chicken did a little bit more than double the performance we saw in match number 1, coming through there from straight out of Nepal. But now comes the big question, Green. Who's going to be on a runaway play as we head over towards Rondo? Because as we saw yesterday, Rondo is that golden opportunity for a lot of the squads here, right? We know it is that opportunity for them to just bag as many eliminations as they can find. Those recalls coming through. So I want to see who's going to be the one to try and capitalize on that, right? Who's going to be the team to hit maybe 20 plus eliminations if someone could do it?
Oh, I believe some of these teams are more than capable of bringing home a 20 or 30 elimination, especially with recalls on Rondo. So it should be really interesting to see how they've decided to play this match, what kind of placements they're going to make, what kind of hot drops. I fully expect several hot drops, as we see often in Rondo. And we've got that key anchor over at a recall to make sure that they can, the minute they go down there, back on that plane.
Well, we'll find out pretty soon exactly how all of this is going to pan out. Of course, that means that, well, it's almost time for us to head into the break to get that Rondo locked and loaded. Of course, cram all the players in the plane and see exactly where it all is going to be taking us. So, yeah, Green, I'm looking forward to seeing what that third match is going to have for us. I like how these points are changing. And, of course, we'll be back with the rankings right after the break.
Hello, everyone. Oh, where'd it go? Be right back.
There it is.
DK. Oh, the fun, the fun. Influence Rage coming in with 69 total points. 1 point away from Alpha 7 at 68 total points. iNCO Gaming 56. Team Salame 53. We got some big numbers. And I'm just worried about those yellow lines over on the right-hand side, DK.
Yeah, I mean, TGAMES, they maybe should switch to coffee. That might work. Who knows? But it's going to be a tough one, especially coming into the next few matches, right? Rondo, as we've already mentioned, is going to be the golden opportunity for the teams with the yellow lines to change those into green arrows, right? They're going to have to step it up. They're going to have to double down. Now, if yesterday is any indicator, this, of course, was a turning point for quite a few squads as they really started to lock it in. I mean, Action yesterday, they just exploded when we hit the map of Rondo. Speaking of which, though, here we go. Let's take a look, see where these teams are going to be going. And, of course, well, they're going from the west to the east. Why? Because that's what the flight path decided. So, I'm curious as to where the zone is going to be popping into, right? Is it going to go to Stadium? Is it going to go to Meiran? Is it going to go to Rinjiang, potentially, maybe? Can we see Long Ho coming into play? Is it going to be Tin Long Garden? I don't know. I would actually like to see a little bit of that Tin Long Garden being played.
I see Luna and Action have already dropped on top of each other all the way over on that western edge, DK. So we already have two teams down on the ground looting, so we should have an early fight right on over there. But we also, it does look like some of these teams are avoiding the test track area. It's interesting to me. Oh, DK, northeast zone.
Ooh, that's going to be an interesting one, especially with Meiran and everything else now coming into play. It looks like Miramar will kind of up onto that northern side, but speaking about north, that's where Luna's heading. North into the lobby, unfortunately, so far for Tokyo. Let's see if Nicole and the rest of the crew can find something here to make a change. It is going to be Fengtun now, where they will need to try and function properly like a unit. But with Action moving in here, it might be quite a bit of a challenge. I mean, Action, this is the team that I'm going to be looking at here. They've been having a rather still day so far, so I want to see them really start to pop off. Unfortunately, it is going to be at the expense of Luna for now.
Yeah, Luna down to a duo, but they are at the recall center, so I feel like the other two players for Luna may be off in a different recall. And we got straight out of Nepal. Oliver, the solo, bringing his team back straight out of Nepal in that very early fight. I believe if I read the elimination feed, it was with JP, and JP is up to 3 eliminations. Alpha 7 now in a fight with Savage Esports, and here comes straight out of Nepal, coming right on down. Luna Wanheda finding an elimination, so we've got fights going on. It is all out chaos here on Rondo.
Yeah, it's an interesting play here. I mean, I think straight out of Nepal came straight out of the plane here as they made a quick little drop down. But I like the fact that we have quite a few other teams holding up in the vicinity. I'm not quite sure if P3 is going to be able to find some loot, maybe up in the building there. But it's a tough spot to be in. And I mean, Dauntless also, right? They are all the way here at Long Ho, making sure that they can get some good loot. I'm still waiting for Dauntless. I want to see Dauntless be relentless. Savage, in the meantime, they can have a bit of a jump here onto Alpha 7 now. Oh!
Savage finding Revo, and Revo going down on that wide open, but it is answered by Obscure. And look at how quickly A7 rushes to Revo to get him picked back up, and it does look like Mafioso maybe either coming in to help his team with Action or going over to one of the recall centers. It's really... The dynamics of Rondo have changed so much because of the recall centers being spread out all over this map. The hot drops just completely changed, and a lot of these teams really need some points.
Yeah, they definitely do. But of course, as we can see, Luna also bringing some of their players back now. Those recalls coming through, but it's going to be Tokyo again getting put under pressure. Ooh, Dauntless, Valek on the edge, gets found. Quick few connections being made here. Valek super low on health, and down they go. So that is going to be Luna locking in their first elimination for this match. But they're going to have to dial it up because Dauntless doesn't seem like they want to hold back, right? They are quite spread out. So there is a bit of an opportunity for Luna to maybe try and fortify the position here. But in the meantime, it is going to be CP9 and Resilience having a little bit of a mad dash across the map. It is going to be exciting once the sprays now start to fly on through, and CP9 all went for solos. So it is going to be a very difficult opportunity here, right? You're going to try and maybe swap into the passenger seat to take that engagement. Meanwhile, it's Oliver, the last defender left here. As you can see, JP really laying into straight out of Nepal.
Yeah, and I don't see Oliver being able to get over to that recall center very quickly. We do see that we just got one of them picked back up from JP, so all 4 of them are back up. You can see that Dior's is up to 4 eliminations, and Oliver, I'm not sure how Oliver is going to get out of this. Could straight out of Nepal be the first one to leave without any points from this Rondo match, even with the recalls, even with the split plays.
Well, let's see now. I don't think that there's much hope left for straight out of Nepal. We did see those recalls getting used up, at least some of them, but now it's going to be Zero Mercy up here in test track. That EMP zone very close to them as well. Fortunately, managing to miss it at least for the time being, but the Wolves are starting to encircle them. This is an interesting strategy as the Wolves are really utilizing the terrain. The angles coming in from so many different sides. But as you can see, getting an exact position is going to be quite tough, seeing that there are so many buildings here and so many windows for players to poke out of.
Yeah, I see Baton up on that ridge line trying to get not only information but the cross angles. So the Wolves are all spread out. They do have Zero Mercy pretty tucked into 2 different areas of the test track and the Neox factory. So they are separated out. Whew. I don't know. Wolves are closing in. I feel it happening. And now let's see what's going to happen with Team Liquid coming across. It looks like they are coming right up into a team. Could possibly end up right in the lap of CP9. And look at our new zone. Our zone is shifting still way up to that northern edge. DK, the north edge is off the map. That's how far north we're going.
I mean, that is pretty crazy. But now we have a little bit of pressure getting applied up into the center zone itself. I like where Faction also decided to go. Dauntless, they're going to be the first team out of here. Getting sent back with a bag of donuts. Nothing for this match, unfortunately. And, well, as we know, there's no more revives coming through. So they are down and out. Alpha 7, though, holding a very wide spread, as we can see. Still got a little bit of tension there for Oliver, holding onto those compounds. Luna, very, very far south. It is the end of phase number 1 that is coming through, but they still have quite a bit of ground to cover, quite a bit of territory to get out of here. So it's going to be a pretty risky rotation.
Yeah, it does. I did notice that that river is going right through the middle of this zone. So as we were talking about yesterday, this river zone can be so much more difficult than some of the Sandhawk and Erangel river zone. So it should be interesting to see how they handle the rotations up to the north and south of this river.
Well, the pressure is on now. Salmon trying to hold on. I'm not quite sure if they're going to be able to make it to that river. Right, it might be a little bit of a reach here. Because first things first, they're going to have to deal with the position they find themselves in. So, Zero Mercy slowly going to be running out of time, running out of options. But they are also still having to contest quite aggressively against Alpha 7. Who's now just waiting the angle. Ninja. Yeah, the cover has been blown. The EMP zone is going to be making things a little bit more challenging. The res has come through now, so that is going to be Alpha 7 back up to a full 4-piece. Like Team Liquid moving on to the edge, but a quick opportunity here for Ninja to engage that stealth mode, coming through with a double whammy. The shotgun being absolute chaotic. But unfortunately, they do get dealt with, and that is going to be the end of the road here for Ninja. Team Liquid, they heard the shots. They want to come in, inspect, and see if they can maybe get in on the action here.
We did see when Alpha 7 came into the racetrack that the Wolves moved out. So Zero Mercy, who was fighting against the Wolves, suddenly found themselves face to face with Alpha 7. I don't know which one I'd want. I'd probably be ending up on the next flight path to the next map. Looks
Let's
like
see.
Team Liquid coming in to the north. DK, you called it. You called it. Here they come right up and in onto Alpha 7 on the racetrack.
Well, they are going to be racing in here indeed. Alpha 7, though, pretty committed to staying here, but Revo, in an effort to dodge the nades instead, meets gravity, right? That is a beautiful thing about how it sometimes works. But now, Mythic Storm Chief, this is the opportunity to try and really constrict the angles here. Ayala is going to potentially be brought back into the fight, but Alpha 7 now trying to figure out how they're going to look to get out of this one. But Guaizo, beautiful off angle. The read on the position, phenomenal. Alpha 7, this could be their opportunity now, not only to get into zone, but also do so safely, because yes, they are in the zone itself, but we are going to be looking at that shift. The blue will constrict in the next 4 seconds or so. And every position they can find here, any angle to try and advance the play could be absolutely crucial for them.
And we did move away from that river, so we're not going to have to deal with that tonight. But that south edge of zone is a cluster of teams. And then we've got Luna still coming in. Action Esports coming in, and Savage Esports. They are all going to be coming in right on top of Team Liquid, Alpha 7. We got JP over there, Influence Rage, and Wolves. The southern side of zone is a bit hot.
Oh, yeah. At least I've got my AC on so they can bring on the heat. Speaking of which, though, it's going to be Wolves now having to kind of answer a few questions here, right? Team Liquid on the one side, we can see Influence Rage on the other. So Wolves need to be quite cautious with how they play this position. In the meantime, there's going to be Alpha 7 now looking to pick up a little bit of the trades here as they have spotted action out in the field. Gigante coming through with a beautiful connection there onto Revo. Revo tried to get back into cover, but unfortunately didn't quite work out as they had hoped. Now the pickup is there. Can they get out of dodge before action comes jumping on in? Hyde with a full send here, finds a bit of a trade. That confirmation has been secured. Obscure now trying to put a bit of distance in between themselves and Action, but so far, Action really trying to bring it all to the forefront here.
What a play by Alpha 7, trying to get Revo in the car. He does get him in the car. He is able to get out of there, but Action coming up and over that ridge line and does still find Revo.
Well, can Revo go all the way? That is going to be the big question. Well, you said they have found Revo, so the answer is no. No, there's no more. There's no more going. Now, let's see what the Wolves are going to be bringing through here. Game on. Also, we haven't seen much of them so far in this game, but this is now their opportunity to shine. We see Lennox just in the distance there, holding on the edge of the bridge. Again, moving through the compounds here, or rather the edges of the city itself, is proving to be quite difficult. Now, it's going to be Faction looking to double down. Natalio is going to be absolutely consumed by the blue. It is going to be phase 3, so not necessarily too devastating, but it is going to complicate things quite a bit, especially looking at the fact that Faction Brazil is going to be trying to intervene. The few nades getting cooked up, vehicles getting moved out of the way. Natalio goes down. It is going to be the players from Game On with one player left. It is Legend now trying to play for zone positioning.
I would like to point out, DK, that Alpha 7 up to four players and 8 eliminations. So Revo did make it out of there. So that was a nice play. Right. We did lose straight on NEPAL. We lost Dauntless early in this, but the rest of the players, the rest of the teams are almost all full 4-man teams. CP9 down to a duo and VRC down to a solo. Oh! What a shot!
Yeah, that was crazy. Almost there, getting so close. Fortunately, Wiz is here to, well, make a little bit of that magic happen, right? Bring their team back into the swing of things. But of course, that zone repositioned, just moving quite a distance away from where we can see almost here. almost there, right? They're almost here into the zone itself. They have to continue to move. It is still going to be a little bit of pressure being applied up into Neox Factory and Test Track as the teams try to find a little bit of a way, a little bit of something here. But action Alpha 7, this is a different kind of an AA meeting we have here.
Yeah, they are still over here, and I don't think that we are in zone anymore. So not only are they fighting with each other, they've been fighting with each other for several minutes now, but the zone has moved away from them. The shots coming in, yeah, Rivo up again, as we said, and they did pull. We did get to see that play, and so Mafioso does find, so it does not look good for Action Esports coming in, but the blue is also pushing them out. So this is phase 4. The blue, you can see, is already chunking. Look at the damage from phase 4 in Rondo. So we have to get these players up into zone, because the blue zone top fragger is devastating for these teams that need these points. Alpha 7 going out with 10 eliminations and 0 placement points, DK.
That's unfortunate, but yeah, it's going to be pretty tough for the teams now to try and pick it back up, right? Almost there. Oh, that's what we could say for that vehicle just falling over the hill. Now, Team Liquid trying to get themselves again back into that flow state. The nade getting so close for ending it here for Storm, but the jump shots will not suffice as Team Liquid are not almost there. They went all the way and back, getting the players secured. Now, the Wolves, they also find themselves a little bit of that action as well. Luna still going to be holding nice and steady. They have one player just holding quite steadily in the shack. That is going to be Tokyo, trying to become one with the terrain. JP looking to play the spread. You can see the Carnage and Chaos up towards the north there with Faction. And, of course, the players from Resilience finding each other on the edges here. The TGAMES squad, also a very wide spread, though. I'm not quite sure if I can approve of that, right? It is a very late stage to be going for such a wide angle. Meanwhile, Cardi C will get spotted. Down they go. Marion trying to cook up the nade. This could be a very beautiful play onto the side of Faction. Is it going to find it? Oh, not quite yet.
And Action going out in 11th. Oh, no. Resilience coming right up and into Team Liquid. And there goes Resilience out in 10th place with 3 eliminations. And Team Liquid getting their players back up. But now we got Faction Esports, Faction Brazil down below trying to get those shots up onto Team Liquid. They've got this. They've got a great cliffside right there to protect their aggression, but they do have to make sure that their backs are cleared. And now here comes the Wolves right on their edge of zone, and they're going to be pushing right into Influence, Rage, JP, and Luna. So Wolves coming in late into the zone. They're going to get punished a little bit waiting this late to try to rotate in.
Well, let's see if that late rotation is going to cost them dearly, or maybe they can make a little bit of magic happen here. Now, Influence trying to lock it down. Not quite sure why they are so hesitant with pushing into the zone. Instead, it does seem like they are going to be focusing all their effort on maybe aggressing onto the side here of Wolves. Wolves trying to find Tokyo, but Tokyo is not going to be giving up just yet. Instead, trying to tank as much of the blue. But if Influence comes in, they get the jump on the Wolves, and JP contributes to the carnage. There could maybe still be a little slither of hope for Tokyo. I don't really see that panning out. As you can see, Tokyo's health extremely low at this point, and down they go. Luna out with 4 elims in 9th place. Now it's going to be the Faction side that feels the heat. The Wolves are getting shot at as well. Prime and Doran getting ready for a little bit of action. Alretno, gotta watch out for them nades. That could end your play right then and there. Higor coming through with the angle as well. Finds Alretno, but look at the back and forth trading. Alreto. Down he goes. Baton comes through, coming in with a slam. Now, Prime in a ditch, trying to see can they find a little bit of something. But JP down to 12 eliminations. Absolutely phenomenal performance. A golden opportunity being presented here. And up comes the nade. Baton closing it right there.
We should be able to get Doran up as well, but they fought so hard for this ridgeline outside of zone. That ridgeline wasn't even in zone, but they fought so hard to get it, and they did get rewarded with the eliminations onto JP. But that shotty out of the vehicle, that was crazy. All right, so now we do have Team Liquid and VRZ right across from each other. So now let's see if Team Liquid seems to like to make sure that they know where all the players are. We don't know if they've been able to spot them on out, but they've got that ridgeline. The ridgelines in Rondo are crazy over on this side of the map, and we can see right here that we also have the emergency covers coming down. The Doritos from the sky. Doritos from the sky. There goes.
Yeah, that tune should play when they come down. Doritos from the sky. Right? Why? Because they're coming in hot. Like you gotta get that hot wing Doritos. Those are the best ones to get. The chili flavor, right? Get him flaming hot. But speaking about flaming hot though, we are yet to see that extra little bit of chaos now coming through in this late few stages of the game. Of course, we're in stage number 6. You can see TGAMES smack dab center zone. Team Liquid, though, they just riding out the waves here as they already were able to secure themselves 9 eliminations. So a good step up from their side. Now, TGAMES finding themselves feeling all that pressure that the center zone presents. And I mean, this is a very bold rotation for them.
Punished for being center zones, DK, because all the 5 other teams are pushing into you, and this is a wide open space. It's not like they've got all sorts of look at all the Doritos from the sky just sitting right there trying to protect TGAMES center zone. TGAMES is set up, but there are still all the angles. You got 360 angles, and you don't have 360 angles of protection from the hardcover in this center zone area.
Well, let's see how these squads are going to look to play through it, though. I mean, VRZ, yes, get it. Dig it. I can dig it. This play I can dig, right? I can dig this one. How would you pronounce that name? Ooh, is that ooh? Or how? Because I'm not sure if that's a D or an O. It looks like an O because Dreamzy has the O in front of their name there. A dream, you know, that's easy. So that's just a whole bunch of vowels. So there we go. It's vowels. Thank you so much for vowels coming through. So that is going to be Storm rolling up as well. Mythic trying to patch themselves up. But Fabric Faction. Right, Faction. That's what the name says. DK Reed. Thank you so much. Let's see if they can maybe make a little bit of something happen here because they are real close to Team Liquid.
No. Team Liquid punishing that shot coming in from Faction Brazil. And now we've got the stats coming in from above BK. We do have, let's see, 0 mercy in. Oh, that looks like... They are just moving across the screen like crazy. The rotations at this point in the zone is unstoppable. We have 13 seconds heading into zone 7. We've already seen so many of these teams getting punished by the blue all the way back in zone 4. So these teams do not want to be touched by that blue zone.
Ooh. Yeah, this is going to be Chaos Central right then and there. It's 5 teams, 16 players. all trying to cram into this itty little bitty space here. I mean, for Zero Mercy, it is looking quite interesting. They have the highest probability, a good chance to bag that winner chicken dinner, but they will have to be merciless if they want to accomplish that, right? They're going to have to double down, dig holes wherever they can find them, and then try to lock it in because, well, Team Liquid, they could be running themselves into quite a world of pain here. As you can see, T-Games trying everything in the bag of tricks, finding the shots. Mythic just got brought back into the fight, but down they go. Now it's up to Chief. Chief gets a hit. The shotty is in. Oh, the nade closes it up, and that is Team Liquid getting evaporated.
I am so impressed by T-Games being able to hold down the center position in zone. And they are blessed with zone one more time. They only have 3 eliminations, but they have kept these teams from coming in and taking their positions. And they are still 3 players standing. And we do have, four for T-Game. Oh, maybe not. So
we went from 4 to no more, right? Only 3 teams remain. It's going to be Zero Mercy still having some pretty high odds stacked in their favor. Oh, little boy getting shot in the kneecaps. Unfortunate. Down they go. Not seeing the rest of the team making it all the way across for that res. But now it's going to be Law and Diego having to try and make this boat float. Look at this, though. T-Games. They are just brewing up a storm here. Are they going to be able to get that ball rolling? Law goes down. Diego. Now the last one left trying to hold on for Influence Rage.
Insane. But they're trying to come in on top of T-Games. And T-Games is still holding down this zone. They are still holding down where they have set up all these Doritos from the sky, the emergency cover sticks coming down and strategically placed. The vehicles, we've got a lot of hard cover. They started off center zone with all the teams coming in at them, and they've been able to hold it. I gotta give a lot of credit to T-Games for this, even though the statistics are calling Zero Mercy 50%.
Yeah, I mean, right, so the statistics are one thing, but it all comes down to how these teams play with that awareness, right? I mean, look at Influence Rage, 10%. Yep, if that health drops a bit more, it's going to be even less than that. So now Law, ooh, looking at the Doritos flying from the sky. If only you could eat those, that'd be amazing. But now, Zero Mercy trying to assert their dominance in the zone. So far, they've been doing a pretty good job with that. Now, it's going to be the question. Can T-Games and Influence do anything to sway that chicken from the hands of Zero Mercy?
Oh. As I was saying, you got to watch the 360. Even though they had all that cover there, T-Games is now getting punished by a solo as a full 4-man squad is pushing up at all the different angles. If we look at that mini map, you can see that we've got them from the northeast to the south, or northwest to the southeast. All of that is Zero Mercy area. And Law down to 1 HP. Here comes the blue, and you know the blue is going to stop that. Ooh. So now, T-Games versus Zero Mercy. We are down to a 3v2. And our statistics are still calling Zero Mercy the winner of this by 20%.
I mean, you know, if it's there, it's there, right? The good thing I think here is that we don't have to do the math and try and figure this out, right? That's what I'm really, really thankful for, because, yeah, it does seem like the numbers are still quite stacked in favor here of Zero Mercy. I don't quite know, because looking at the overall positioning that they have, they are rather spread out. They aren't that close towards the zone, and it is phase number 9. And so, yeah, this could maybe be quite troubling for them. But if T-Games want to bag this chicken, they're going to have to run out there, grab it with both hands, and make sure that they can get the job done, because it's not going to come easy.
And Ninja pushing it out in that wide open. A free shot from T-Games. But T-Games does move out from behind that shot, and it is Salmon. It is a 1v1 DK, and now it is Salmon versus T-Games. Games versus Salmon. DBO. T-Games. DK. What
Crazy,
a finish.
right? What a play. I said if T-Games want to get their hands on that winner with a chicken dinner, they're going to have to work real hard. And well, they did, right? They worked their butts off to secure that to make sure rather that they get that winner chicken dinner secured. So what a play it was for them. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Rondo, I gotta say, right? It just delivered yet again. The team stepping up to the plate and a lot of heat coming in this past game.
Oh, I love how Rondo is still like this new map DK where we're all just kind of transitioning into the meta, transitioning into rotations and split plays and hot drops and the shuffleboard of the leader, or the shuffling of the leaderboard. But here are your stats for our #1 team. The team that was able to hold that position so long. But look at this, 2 eliminations, 1 elimination, 1 elimination, but winner chicken dinner.
Yep, indeed, that is exactly what they did. So, yep, GG's going out here to T-Games as they were sipping on that tea all the way through. I gotta love it for them, an absolutely good turnout here. But of course, that this was about time that they stepped it up, because if you remember earlier on, they were quite far down those rankings, right? There was a point where they were all the way in 19th position with only 12 points. So this was very much needed coming through for them. So it is going to be Zero Mercy, though, that is going to be taking home the most points here, walking away with 17 total, 11 of those coming from the eliminations they were able to secure. So almost getting their hands on a 21-22 bomb getting dropped on through, but an absolutely phenomenal showing. The team's doing so much hard work. And of course, that means Green, we have 2 more maps to go. Only 2 to see who will be the one smiling come end of day.
Incredible. That's moving on so fast, and it just unbelievable. The plays that are happening along the way. What do you think of the metas? Have you been able to see many Rondo matches at this level, DK?
Not too many yet, because it's still being introduced in a lot of places, right? So, but what I have seen from it so far is that the teams are really utilizing the terraforming. That is really a big thing. So I'm curious to see just how far they can look to take it. But speaking about taking it far, right? We're going to be hopping into the break to get ready for match number next, coming up after the break.
Be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the PUBG Mobile America's Challengers. We just came out of that Rondo match, and we have shuffled the leaderboard. Talk to me, DK. Look at the arrows.
Yeah, those arrows are making some moves. TGAMES coming through with that winner chicken dinner, securing themselves a beautiful shift up all into that 15th position. Of course, JP Esports also with a beautiful upwards movement. Zero Mercy moving up as well. So we are seeing the teams with them winner chicken dinner slowly creeping their way up the rankings. But of course, there are a few teams that have been having a pretty tough day so far, right? 6-9, CP9, and Dauntless. I think there's something with the 9s, right? Because if the 9's at the end of the name, they are on the right side of the page. If the 9 is in the front, well, they're all the way over on the far left side of the leaderboard there. As you can see, 9Z GLOBANT coming through with a strong angle. So I want to see 6-9 and CP9 all looking to up the ante. Of course, Dauntless, again, we want to see it, right? They went out early in this previous match, so we want to see a stronger comeback as we head into match number 4, because as we know, the game after that is the end of the day. And especially for Group A, this next match is going to be the important one, right? So we've got A, C, D, and E that are going to be showing us what they can bring on through here. Pressure is high. Dauntless can play, but will they do it in the next match? I hope.
Yeah, Dauntless was in the last group coming in, so they do have 2 more matches today, but they've got to move. Dauntless, if you are out there, show us what you can do. We are going into Erangel and Miramar. These last 2 matches, they are home to normal Dauntless territories. So let's see. Here we go. And we are headed into match number 4, Erangel. We're coming in from that California coastline, all the way over west of Gatka, going all the way across the center of the map to just that southern edge of Lipovka. Very central flight path. Most of these teams are going to be able to make it to their normal drops. We may see some hot drops. We may see some normal looting and rotations from these teams, depending on our first zone. Our first zone would go all the way down to that military base, which will just shuffle everything all over again and make these teams push into each other along the 2 bridges or the hovercrafts. What's your guess, DK, before that flight zone, or before that first zone?
North. Why? I don't know. It just sounded like it could be an absolute carnage fest, and we want to see that, right? The teams, they've shown that they have what it takes to bring in the action. We're 50% there, right? We're kind of north, kind of not. It's actually smack center, slightly over towards the west. It's not bad, right? I mean, you can see Ruins and, of course, Gatka, as well as Picado. Pachinki is going to be center zone. If Picado was in the center of the zone while we're on Erangel, I'd be extremely worried, because 1, that means I can't read. And luckily, the name wasn't showing. So that's my excuse, right? I know it started with a P and ended with another letter, and so there we go.
Yeah, we just took the plane a little bit further along that flight path. So we do only have a few teams out of zone, but if you look up into Yasnaya, iNCO has all of you Yasnaya to themselves, so they can. Whoa, I see Brunozen already headed in that rotation to anchor into zone, and he may end up right there on top of Influence Rage, what could be really difficult for iNCO to lose a player this early in this match. This zone is so central and so nice to so many of these teams that are already in their positions for the first zone.
What I like about this is that the teams decided, you know what? Respecting space, nah, that's game 1 stuff. This is match number 4. we're not going to respect space. We're just going to go up. We're going to rush everybody. We're going to try and see how close we can get to the action. Can we squeeze maybe even all the teams into the zone, right? Nobody goes out of the zone. Try and put everybody right there in the playable area itself. And I mean, this is going to mean that there will be so much action. The snowball is going to get rolling really, really quickly. So I want to see, can these teams light it up? Can they push? And of course, more importantly, can we see the teams that need the points get the points in this game?
We do have several teams that really need the points. We've got 6-9 in here that needs the points. We have CP9 in here that needs the points. And Dauntless. We've been talking about Dauntless for 2 days. And let's go. Let's find out. Dauntless is in a position up in that North George area to get very well looted up. There wasn't anybody up there at this moment. I believe Group B is out at this point where Alpha 7 likes to take over all that northwest edge.
Well, I mean, all the zones are still up for grabs, I would say here. Even though a team might like to take control, it's not about what they like to do, it's what they will be allowed to do. As you can see, Team Salame, they were popping off yesterday. Today, so far, it's been proving to be quite a bit of a challenge, right? They started off the day with a bucket load of points. They've not been able to put anything into that bucket too much here. Now, is going to be Resilience up towards the north. An interesting angle just on the outskirts of school. These compounds always proving to be quite a bit of a challenge, but up goes the full satisfaction. They're just like, you know what, we're not going to waste time. We're just going to send it. Up they go, flying through. Lennox gets found. Down they go in faction, having to hold on with only 3 players. But this is the golden opportunity for the teams to try and lock in more.
So punished on that push, and they pushed into 2 different teams that were holding down this compound between the school and Pachinki. Oh, we do have Resilience that came in. We've got, we were just talking about how we had Team Salame that were needing points. They were out there keeping an eye on this push, and I was trying to see if Team Salame even got any of those eliminations. Tell me, what is happening now? I believe 6x9 is starting to get some of these, get some of these points onto JP. 6-9, we know, needs these points desperately. They up 1 elimination, down 1 player though, and they're still getting pushed up. JP down to the sole survivor right there behind that tree, getting pushed up by Vinny. Oh.
Hey, there we go. There we go. 6-9. Coming hot. They get 4 eliminations and the wipe onto JP. I mean, that's great for them, Green. But they have to keep that ball rolling because, I mean, coming into this match, they were trading JP with 20 points. Adding 4 does help close the gap a little bit, but they need to find more. Luna also going to be one of those teams that is not going to say no to additional points coming their way. So I want to see what they can do. Can they lock it in? I mean, they showed yesterday that they can, you know, play a strong game of PUBG. I want to have more of that be here today. Meanwhile, it is going to be almost there. Also just waiting onto the northern side here of Pachinki. Almost said Picado again, but you know what? Picado, Pachinki, potato, big one is there. Also, we got the goats right there next to them.
I was just going to mention that. Not a goat, not too far away. Not a goat, not a far. It looks like we're over here at the Pachinki slaughterhouse and almost there, keeping an eye, but it does look like almost there. Is going to just go ahead and head back down to Pachinki to go ahead and hold down Pachinki from, I believe that was Savage, right? Is that Savage over there? Woo, DK.
Yep, it looks like it. We'll see if that is going to be enough, though. Can they be Savage? Can they bring in the hit? We'll find out soon. It's pretty tough, though. I mean, they have quite a bit of an opportunity up on that hill. So I want to see, are they going to look to try and play off of the church or maybe do something else with the high ground? Speaking about high ground, though, That is where CP9 is that. What's that? Semi? I don't know what the nines are supposed to represent. Is that an A or an E? Because in the language I speak, that means it's a seminar, right?
Let's go with it.
But I don't think we're in for a lecture, right? I don't know. I don't think that's what's happening. So we'll find out soon. McGrillen, in the meantime, and the rest of iNCO, they're going to be pushing further and further up towards shooting range, maybe even into that plane crash.
Oh, look at the zone. We've got the zone coming up now. Dauntless is coming in from, look at that line of Dauntless all along Mount Everest, but they are coming into Team Salami. We've got CP9. The Wolves are pushing up through CP9, and we've got Game On. They are all right there next to Dauntless. Dauntless has all sorts of possibilities for these fights. Will they take them, or will they be a part of a third party coming in, because they are getting surrounded by so many teams in this zone, or in this position?
Well, let's see now. Is anything going to come through here? The team's actually surprisingly holding back, right? We can see only, what's that, 8 players have been taken out of this match so far, right? 9, including JP's elimination that they were able to get as well. So there is still a lot available here, right? The teams are literally just building up the tension. Yeah, they're just building up the tension. They're like, you know what? We got to give you just a little bit of a preview. Like, we go like, brah, 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 and then hit the shots, and then that's it. And it's like, oh, okay, 1 player less. And then we wait a little while to see if more is going to come. But, you know, they're going to try and keep us on our toes. It's like, we don't quite know exactly when it's going to happen. But the teams, though, I think they're trying to control what the outcome is here, right? They're trying to play a lot more decisively. They want to say, you know what? We don't want to be the next team to go. We're going to try and survive as long as we can.
Yeah, you definitely want to bring your chess game to a chess game. We don't want to play checkers and just jump across this map and end up being someone's chicken nugget dinner. So we gotta watch. We gotta get out there. We gotta scout. We can see CP9 right there on the edge of VRZ, but we also have Team Salami all tucked into the ruins. So if we get too close to any of these, Trigger really has to pay attention to his scouting. He cannot overextend on any of those ridge lines.
Yeah, got to be very, very careful with those extensions indeed. But let's see now. Where is the next point of contention going to be, Green? Where are these teams going to choose to fight next, right? I'm good at a few things, like, you know, spelling my name and stuff like that, but figuring out where exactly these teams are on the map right now, it's difficult. We can already see the mini-map for the time being. It's going to be almost there with a little bit of company up into Pachinki as the zone gets ready to pop, and, of course, Luna going to be trying to hold their ground here.
Luna being aggressive and pushing into Pachinki. Almost there, has already claimed Pachinki, but now Luna is coming in, and these ladies that do want some of these Pachinki buildings. They want some of this Pachinki loot. They want part of the zone. And look at this. Bear right across is able to get a knock over onto Savage Esports all the way over at the slaughterhouse. Do they even know that Luna Esports has come in? Wanheda, not somebody you want just to surprise you, because she does not miss her shots.
Well, well, the answer now is yes, they know, right? It's pretty clear. They're taking the engagement, but Team Liquid rolling up as well. They are still quite far away, so it's not going to be any immediate danger to either of these teams, but it doesn't seem like almost there is too bothered, right? They are going to prioritize a little bit more the northern positioning here, and they can look to see if they could maybe leverage something. But of course, zone, that is where they need to go. Everest again coming into play here, but this time we're heading a little bit further south. So it is going to be challenging for the teams trying to push into the center zone. I think this is one of those instances where edge zone could maybe be a little bit more of a viable option.
Yeah, clearing up those edges, driving around, trying to get the teams that may be coming in from the blue, already partially damaged from the blue, can get a lot of these teams some early eliminations. We just saw Team Liquid starting to get some of these teams coming out of the blue already. 6x9 with another knock over onto 9Z. There are your 9s, DK. The 9s are fighting. Will 9Z finish off 6-9, or is 6-9 saying, I'm hungry?
Well, we'll find out soon enough as the teams continue to push up. It's going to be game on, locking in the edge, the foot side of the mountain here. 9Z pushing further in, not getting spotted out just yet. Wolves, though, out in the field, going to be keeping it nice and quiet, trying to pick up a few trades here and there, almost getting in as well. Wiz, why are you stopping? Move! You got to keep running. If Higar finds you, that is going to be a quick ticket back into the lobby. Now it's going to be the side here of Dauntless. Getting ready, Savage on the opposite end. The nades come through, the bounces in, and now Dauntless letting it all loose.
No. And Klaus does get that knock, does get a nade down in there, but then he gets knocked himself. Why is Banger all the way over on this side? Why is Klaus all the way over to that west? Was Klaus out there going on the scouting mission, finding the teams and going ahead and saying, I want some of these points? Oh, it's just... we need to see what can happen next, because I do believe that Klaus was over there looking at Savage Esports. Savage Esports does look like they got other players picked back up, and Dauntless is still sitting in the up and downs right there. We still have the teams. Look at Influence Rage in that southwest corner coming up onto Luna. So we do have another fight. Right. Oh, and punished. Nicole getting some of that elimination right there. And oh, what a shot.
That was fast. That was really fast. Well played here by Luna, punishing the side of INF. They tried to see if they could escape after rushing in. The answer was nope, not today, not this match. So, yeah, big GG going out to them. Now, of course, it is going to be 6-9, trying to see if they can find a way up in towards the zone. Meanwhile, CP9 and the side of almost there, just flashing on the edge of the zone. You got to watch out for Pantera and the rest of the players as well coming through from that northern side. So many angles to watch. VRZ, though, I like what they're doing here. They're trying to be involved in quite a few engagements, trying to play those third parties. And, of course, if they can keep that consistency, it is going to take them to some good places. Of course, as we know, they were one of those teams really happy to take their share of points. So let's see how far they can push this. Can they get the angles, the cheeky plays in this third party?
I see Trigger out there just trying to get those mollies down there, trying to get those eliminations, but CP9 is still at zero eliminations, even though they had the teams pushing up in that wide open. Is Savage Esports coming in onto Dauntless in the up and downs. Dauntless now just a duo. Where is Dauntless?
That's a good question, Green. We'll find out exactly where they are and where they find themselves situated. But there's your answer to the question. It is going to be Juancho bringing Valek back into the fight as they tried to keep their numbers high. Still going to be keeping up against the side here of Savage, who's knocking on the door. The utilities now starting to fly out, but unfortunately, Dauntless can't find an exact pinpoint play on this. It is going to be Numero and Pixel looking for the position. Could find a cheeky nade up the window. Out it goes. Is that going to be the ticket? Not quite yet. It's instead going to be Savage taking them down, but getting so close to being finished themselves.
very close, especially in this compound, because they were getting also shot at by, you can see iNCO from the top, you can see Game, and they were taking those fights. CP9 still in that fight over on that eastern side, outside of the play zone, with almost there. They've been fighting, they've been using the utilities, but they also have Resilience coming in right behind them from the east, and then another team coming from the north. I believe that was SALAME. My brain just kind of went, okay, we got teams coming in from all different directions, DK. They are shifting in, trying to get some of these third parties. They are trying to get into this Mount Everest, south of Mount Everest, Ganka area.
Let's see whether or not that is going to be accessible for them. iNCO, that's a tough spot up on the hill. It's not going to be an easy rotation. The Wolves, though, trying to move on in. As you can see, CP9 and Resilience holding down the eastern edge of the zone. Neither of these teams finding a way in just yet, but that is going to be KDC getting picked and up. Resilience having to try and find a way to respond. Marion. Oh, this is going to be risky. Got to watch out for those smokes. If you move this slow, that's going to be your hot ticket back into the lobby. Now, Saz, the last one left, trying to see if they can clutch it up, but the answer is no. Instead, the Wolves baited them and got them down. Out they go. Now, almost there is going to find themselves right back in the hot seat as well. CP9 still holding steady up towards that northern side. Now, it is getting increasingly more challenging for teams to have a strong finish here.
6x9 right below the team coming in from above on top of Mount Everest. They know that there's a team right on top of them. They have iNCO above them. They have a game over. I almost said the wrong team, but Wolves now pushing up in CP9 outside of zone. We've got chaos from all these different angles going into zone 6. So now we know that the blue zone is the top fragger. From this point on, these teams cannot be outside of this play zone. If that blue hits them, they are down and out.
Well, let's see who's going to be the next one to be down and out. It could be VRZ as the shots continue to fly across, but down goes Game On. Their ticket getting punched. We, of course, now have 7 squads remaining. iNCO far north, 6-9 far west, rather. And there's going to be Savage and Luna. Luna actually holding up quite well here. I mean, they got 3 eliminations up. They are essentially one of maybe 2 teams that has a full squad here. VRZ is going to be the other squad to bring it on through here. As you can see, those health bars still rather low for VRZ. But now, Luna, this is their opportunity. Maybe they can find the approach they need to take to get much further into those placement points, because looking at this being 7th place, you only get a little bit of placement points, right? It's still quite reliant on those eliminations. So let's see. Can Luna lock it in and get themselves into good standing here?
It appears we've gone to the northeast in this new zone. So now these teams over here, Luna, Savage, we've got 6-9. They all have to move to that eastern side. So they are going to have to move into the likes of Wolves over on the other side. I almost hate saying these names, because when we switch over, we see them getting knocked. And here is Wolves on this eastern side in a fight, and down they go to Team SALAME. SALAME, mustard colored. And now here comes VRZ right up on top of Team SALAME. Team SALAME is able to get that res off back up to a trio. And so now we still have Luna and VRZ as the only 2 teams with full 4-man teams. But Luna in that fight down in that southwest are trying to come up and in. Chaos in this 6th zone. iNCO right at that top, coming down from the top of Mount Everest. So here comes 6x9 on that western edge and uncontested, because we are still on this top side of the road just to the south of Mount Everest.
Well, let's see. Is anything going to come through next? 6 teams remain, but not a lot of options available. Tokyo, though, step it on up. Gets the hit onto Pixel. The confirmation is in. Savage now going to be spread out quite thin here, but it is going to be 6-9 creeping up right there alongside them. Savage down to a solo. Numero again being the Uno player over here, right? Now, Luna starting to push further up here, just slowly encroaching up this western front. iNCO going to be holding a beautiful bit of high ground. I'm surprised that 6-9 has not been spotted out yet. VRZ also still looking pretty strong over on the edge. Not looking to do too much just yet. They are going to be trying to time that opportunity to perfection. In the meantime, it is going to be the players coming through here from Team Salame, holding strong and steady. 8 elims up, but here we go. The angles just got to work out in their favor now.
Yeah, we've got Team or Luna down on that side. They do have that ridge line. They are in zone, but I am worried about them being in that wide open sight line from Team Salame. They don't have a lot of coverage to help keep them going through these farther stages. We are in stage 6, going into stage 7 in 5 seconds, DK. And VRC is punishing Team Salame right on over on this edge. And we could see that the nades are coming up and over the ridgeline, trying to push Team Salame down off this ridgeline.
Yeah, it's a tough position to try and defend. It's a really tough one to play through. But now let's see who's going to be able to make it work out. It is going to be Luna still trying to use their numbers to their advantage. Salame on the opposite side taking a little bit of damage. You can see them now being put on the back foot. The spray is coming through here. That is beautiful work coming through from GAMC. But now VRZ also going to look to try and time their strike here. You can see Salame again being put in such a difficult position. Kratos Love holding on the edge. We do see utilities flying all over the place. VRZ trying to blaze a little bit of that opposition. iNCO also just patiently awaiting that hillside. But now it is going to be Luna focusing in on them. I like this confidence coming through from Luna. But now they're going to continue. They have to build that momentum, right? Keep the ball rolling. Look at the Savage, though, feeling so much of that sting. Let's see whether or not 6-9 can get this one in the bag. 8 eliminations up already. They might get their 9th. They do. That is it. Down to the final 5 we go. iNCO, surprisingly though, Green, not getting any eliminations so far this match.
I was just noticing Team Secret, 6-9, and Savage Esports all had 9 eliminations. And iNCO, who was so dominant yesterday, has a goose egg at this point. But DK, we do have 10 players, 8 players, not including iNCO. Can they get some points on this board? Because we are pushing up in this, look at this uphill battle. Even for Team Secret, we got 6x9 uphill battle. All the and iNCO 6-9 with 9. There's your 9s, DK.
Yes, sir. Getting it all done here. But now let's see whether or not VRZ can get themselves healed up. As you can see, those health bars are pretty low, but they do have a 26% chance, the same as iNCO, for maybe coming in with that winner chicken dinner. But I like how the odds are swinging in favor here of Luna. They still have a little bit of a position to try and work with here, but I think a big opposition to their strategy is, of course, going to be the side there of VRZ. Now it's going to be Tokyo and GAMC trying to lock it down. That nade could maybe go all the way and find the position on 2. We can see Team Salame, but Gadu is going to be hiding just over the edge Just third party peeking into the position here of Luna. That means quite a bit of a troubling angle here for them. I don't quite know if Luna knows exactly how close that player is to them.
You cannot get tunnel vision at this. Oh, Luna finds them. So there is your question. Luna answered you, DK. Yes, they knew where they are, and now they are confident pushing up this hill. And now we have the top three. And Luna, a duo, is gonna have to face off against VRZ. And iNCO. iNCO is still in this with only 17%, but iNCO, it is iNCO. Can we get some points on the board for iNCO?
Well, let's see what Cantera can do here. Is going to be trying to find that exact position of Luna. So far, things are looking pretty good. I mean, iNCO is causing quite a bit of a distraction here, allowing Luna to get closer to the position here. But Zone 9 is about to hit. That is going to be a pretty troubling play for all the players left in this match because there's nowhere else to hide. It is going to be go time. So iNCO, very limited options here. Not quite sure how 7-8 is going to get themselves out of this situation. They've only one elimination up. They are, of course, going to be walking away with their share of placement points. So it could either be 5 or 6. Not quite sure if they can get their hands on that winner chicken dinner. But I got to say, though, you have to commend the effort that VRZ has been bringing into this game. I mean, where has this team been, right? Why have they taken so long to come through with such a good play? I like this for them. But can they capitalize? Can they lock it in? 3 players up and only 2 more standing between them and a winner chicken dinner. But now it's going to be Luna trying to get ready for the spray. Tokyo gets the hit, almost gets run over. Cantera is going to try and quickly fall back into safety, but the quick reactions here from Luna will make it even more challenging. A quick little bit of a dip out in the blue. It's now going to be Dreamy and Cantera that have to try and drive this one home. But this is that opportunity for Tokyo and CAMC to come in and get their hands on that pesky winner chicken dinner. Will they get it done?
Here they come. It is a 2v2. Oh, the stun, and the molly coming in from VRZ. VRZ knows where Luna is. Luna all grouped up together, and VRZ is separated, even though we have 6 points on the board for VRZ and the upper ground. We have a 50-50 chance on the statistics, and there it is, Luna! Woo!
What a play. What a play. Luna beating the odds and coming through, pulling that rabbit out of the hat. And there they have it. Luna Esports walking away with the winner chicken dinner and kicking a whole lot of butt along the way. Absolutely amazing for them.
That was spectacular. Luna even answered your questions, DK. Do Luna know they are there? Poof! Luna says, no, they are not. Luna, beautiful work. All uphill. You hear those stories when I was your age. I had to go uphill. Well, they did it. They did it.
Yeah.
And they brought home that chicken.
Yep, it was an uphill battle indeed, but they knew that they could make it, so absolutely phenomenal job being done here to them. So big congratulations going out to Tokyo, as well as CAMC, One Header, and Nicole. Good work. But as you can see, Tokyo just brought out so much work here, securing 5 eliminations. A big contribution to the elimination count we have here for the team. But, you know, you got to give a shout out to these ladies. They did an absolutely amazing job in this past match.
Incredible. And they came in with 19 total points for this one single match. That should move them on this board so nicely. 9 eliminations. Coming in second was the Team Salami. Team Salami was up on top of that roof, and Luna was ready with that. Luna had an answer to the Team Salami roof play and beat RZ, coming in third with 12 eliminations.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say Luna made the tides of change turn in their favor, right? So well done to them. But yeah, as we can see, also a few teams there not having enough points to show for this match. But here we have it. 4 games done and dusted. 9 eliminations going along that winner chicken dinner. Of course, one more map to go. It is going to be Miramar. It is going to be the Dusty Dunes to be the decider here for the day, to see who will be able to continue their climb up the overall standings, and of course, who will have to work even harder when we get over to tomorrow.
Yeah, you caught me reading DK. Woo! And I was trying to find out if Luna was gonna be in the team staying or in the team leaving for this final match. I was over here trying to figure out which group Luna was in. They are in Group D, so we will be going with Luna into the next match. So Luna has even more time tonight to put on more points.
Yeah, they're in Group D. So the only group that has ended their day here is Group A. So that was Wolves, JP, CP9, and of course, Faction Brazil, right? It's a wrap for them. Their 4 games have been played out. And of course, this last match is the last match for all the other groups. So it's all going to boil down to this, right? Who can bring the most heat coming into the final match of the day? If Luna is able to kind of repeat the same process that we just saw, it could be another strong finish for them. But I got to say, though, it is good overall, right? Luna doing a phenomenal job, and as I mentioned earlier, they could do with a few points. They got 19, so they got a lot more than just a few, so that would put them somewhere in the 40-something point range. So I'm curious to see what those rankings look like when we get back to that after the break. But of course, Green, that means the next game is the last game, and of course, it's only one more to go. So there is even more pressure starting to build on these teams. And of course, coming into this match, we saw the point differentiation being quite a bit, right? First place being 81, 22nd place being 9 points. So there's quite a bit of a drop-off as we move through these squads. So whoever is trying to play for that spot moving into the finals, they have to bring the heat.
And we will bring the heat right after this break, DK. Be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We are looking at the rankings for the PUBG Mobile America's Cup. We have one match left today at the midpoint. DK Influence Rage coming in with 81 total points. Alpha 778. Team Salami in third with 68 total points. In Luna, you talked about Luna shooting up that board. Luna is all the way up into 8th.
Yep. I mean, Luna out of this world, all the way in 8th position indeed. I mean, the numbers are starting to stack up quite nicely, as you can see. At this point, like 1 point can definitely mean quite a bit of a difference for several of the teams here, right? So as we know, only the top few teams are going to be making their way through. There will be a few teams, 4 teams that will get relegated. So they want to try and establish as much of a position as you can here. And of course, moving into the final match of the day, if you've not done it already, this is your final opportunity, because as you said earlier, right, we're about to hit that halfway mark. And so once we're halfway, it means that you have only half the number of games left to try and change the outcome here. And of course, moving into tomorrow's matches, a lot more teams are going to dial up that pressure. Moving into the last day of the league stage, it will almost be unbearable. But you know what? It's going to be time for us to take a look and see what Miramar has to bring, as we are going to be starting all the way down there in Villa del Mar, heading all the way across to Torre Ahumada. So a very decent start to the match.
Look at this flight path. It's very central, even though it's going from that southwest all the way towards that northeast. We're going over most of these places, except along the edge line, like straight on Nepal, almost there, all the way over in Impala. A lot of these teams are going to have to go to their second drops, and I can already see almost there, headed over towards that western side of El Pozo area, along with Alpha 7.
I'm going to be looking at Villa del Mar as well, right? Look at Game On finding themselves in a bit of a hot seat, right? Going in for a bit of that hot drop action. So I want to see how this is going to play out. Of course, they are sharing the space here with Action Esports, as you can see over on the left side of the screen. So, yeah, ooh, it is going to be an interesting one, as the zone is going to be centering up just north of Los Leones. So, again, there will be a lot of opportunity for rotations to come through. I am expecting Picado maybe to feel a little bit more pressure. I do see a few teams maybe rotating all the way up in towards Impala. But with Los Leones being center zone, it's interesting as to who will dare venture in there, because getting in is easy, but getting out of Los Leones when everybody else is around you, not that easy.
Yeah. So here we are down in Villa del Mar. We do have Game On in this fight, and they are being aggressive. They are smoking, they are pushing, they are throwing the nades, trying to push Action Esports back, but Action Esports is up on these ridge lines, keeping an eye on Game On. Look at the sight lines that Action has down on the game line, or Game On. They know where they are. So an Action right on top of the print shop, and we do have a 2-2 split across the street. Look at that. We've got 2-2 for both Action and Game On.
But can they make it? Can they make that 2-2 split work? Can they make the magic happen? Well, they'll definitely bring us a little bit of that Action legend cooking up the nade. This could be beautiful. Is it going to reach though? No, it overshoots. Also overcooked it. I mean, if that nade was cooked to perfection, right, and it just made it across the wall and went boom right when it had to, oh, it would have been so great. But already the knocks are finding their way on through here. Action now swinging into momentum. As you can see, the full send coming through. They are trying to double down strike while the iron is hot. And this could maybe spell a little bit of disaster for the side of Game On.
And I did notice that Action has one of their players up on the bridge. So the bridge also on a crazy off angle. So we've got off angles from all these different sides to come in on top. of Game On, and you can see here that Game On trying to get their players back up and in, but Action, they are already in that building. We got Gigantes up on the roof over here. We got one up on that bridge and two in the yellows across the street right there with Game On. So Game On cannot help their teammates on the other side of the street.
Yep, that's going to be a pretty tough split to try and play through. But now we do see Dauntless also feeling a little bit of that sting, as we can see one of their players getting knocked on down. Class coming through with a quick response. But now it's going to be Action right here. Waiting to see what Game On is going to be doing. They are cooking up some nades, trying to create a bit of an opening. Ooh, that could be a cheeky nade. It gets sent out, but has to really quickly fall back into position. Natalio now trying to find themselves a quick little bit of a repositioning, but Game On, they did find the knock. So this is going to be the opener for them. The opportunity is there, but they're going to have to grab it with everything that they can find. Actually not going to back down, and two players getting dropped. Game On bringing in the heat. Now the third one is going to get dropped. Gigante goes down. Oh, this looks like trouble now for Action. Hyde is going to be doing exactly as their name suggests. They are going to be hiding up on the bridge, just trying to stay out of harm's way.
Game On is up to 4 players again. They brought all 4 players back into this match, and we have seen so much aggression from Action Esports, and we know that Game On needs these points. Is this the start of the momentum we have been talking about, DK? Do they know that Action Esports is up on that bridge? They probably hear the sound cues now that they're down below them. So this may be really devastating for Action Esports.
You know, it's one thing that I've just realized here is that looking at the points for Action Esports, right? They had 57 coming into this match. Only 6 of those 57 points is thanks to placement points. The other 51 is from eliminations, right? 51 eliminations and only 6 placement points. I mean, Game On has more placement points than them, right? Game On has 7, they have 6. But the difference is they've been super, super aggressive, right? Like bringing in a lot of action. So if this match doesn't go well for them, it's okay, right? They started the match in 5th place. It's not going to pose too much of a threat to them, but instead they're going to try and maybe respond with even more aggression come tomorrow. VRZ, though, I mentioned this earlier. I got to give them a shout out. They've been having a pretty good day. Yesterday, they played a little bit more reserved, like trying to get a good feel for what this lobby is going to be bringing to them. But so far here today, they've been holding their own. I say that as they are getting absolutely battered by the side of Alpha 7. But all things considered, VRZ, you got to commend their effort, right? They had a pretty decent run so far for the day. So, yeah, well done to them. Unfortunate to see them go, though.
Alpha 7, with the use of other utilities, they really use the utilities. Alpha 7 cooks their utilities to perfection, which is why they are one of the world's better teams. We've seen Alpha 7 win PMWC.
Yeah, we have indeed, but can they bring that winning recipe into this match as well? Team Salame, though, speaking about recipes, they are going to be looking to see what they can make happen over here. iNCO also keeping it nice and quiet up on the hill, slightly exposed. Got to watch out as Salame starts to move in. Liquid, though, going to start flowing this way, and that Ayala holding steady. You can see the players there from Salame making a bit of a move, but I'm curious as to whether or not Team Liquid is actually going to look to try and maybe oppose some kind of a position, or will they kind of just sit and look, right? Because we know they can do with few points. Everybody in this lobby can do with a few points because we're not at the end of the league stage yet, but you got to give it up to Team Liquid, though, a good position that they've been able to secure within that zone. Of course, we do see that pop coming in as well, and quite a few squads still having a long, long way to go. I am curious about the split coming through from Luna, though. As you can see, they've got 2 players in zone and 1 more all the way up towards that far northern side. Maybe there's 2 players up there. I don't quite know. But we can see Nicole kind of just all the way there in Cruz del Valle. Not quite sure what's happening over there.
Yeah, and our zone does circle down around Los Leones still. As you were talking about Los Leones, an urban finish. Los Leones is one of my favorite places on this map, and I know that a lot of these teams do not want to be anywhere near Leones with all the different angles, all the different levels. We have skyscraper, concrete, we've got constructions, we've got it all in Leones. Influence Rage though coming up onto 6x9. 6-9 now down to one player. And now here comes Dauntless driving right up next to Savage Esports. And they were right next to Alpha 7 up at that north side. Alpha 7 is going to hear all this chaos going on. Could come in on a third party and could punish Savage Esports for taking all these shots over onto Dauntless as Dauntless is rotating into zone. We did lose a player from Dauntless as well, and I did not notice which player we lost.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough play, though, for everybody out in this blue. As you can see, Alpha 7, again, right? You can't really say, oh, they're doing this or they're dropping the ball or whatever. I mean, they're out here. Does it matter if they have not necessarily such a great play this time around? No, because, I mean, they're way up there in the rankings, right? They got pretty good points, so they can afford to, you know, play this Miramar however they choose to. Ideally, it would be great if they get out of the blue. But you know what? That would maybe not have as much suspense tied to it as they would have liked. Meanwhile, it is going to be Influence Rage also continuing to push in on the eastern side. You can see straight out of Nepal up ahead of them. Now it's going to be the welcoming shots finding its way on through. Will straight out of Nepal be able to do anything with this current angle they find themselves in? They still have all 4 players up. But Wolf seems to be a little bit isolated from the rest of the team. There we go. The reinforcements now starting to render up on the side of the screen. But straight out of Nepal, this could be a bit of an opportunity to gatekeep the edge of the zone.
Yeah, this area is pretty flat, so it makes it easier to defend. That compound is easy to defend, but let's see how many teams we do have over there. I do see all the teams that are starting to push into Leones as well. So now, are we going to have the urban finish up here in Leones? Are we going to go over to that eastern side where straight out of Nepal has decided to hold up against some of these? And we do have Alpha 7 still watching, still doing the zone sweep, making sure that they can get any of these nuggets coming in from the blue. And look at Luna wrapping so far to the west of A7, trying to stay out of their sightlines.
Well, let's see who's going to be able to get what going. Alpha 7 coming through from that northern side. Luna taking a little bit, I would say, a little bit too much of the blue juice here. You can see Nicole now managing to just get out of that position. But this is where I'm going to be looking over towards the western side of zone to see what that is going to be bringing in. Because the teams could definitely try and sneak up onto Los Leones. But I say realistically, Resilience, they have a very strong position, especially in the zone, right? Holding on to a little bit of high ground. Team Liquid also a pretty strong read on the angles here. But let's see who's going to be the one to capitalize. Who can drive it home and get their hands closer to that winner chicken dinner.
I was trying to count how many teams are in Leones already. We've got almost there. We've got Zero Mercy. We've got 6 and 9 calling right up in that corner, northwest corner. We do have straight out Nepal over on that northeast side. So we've got teams pushing into Leones, already starting to set up in case we do have this urban finish. The zone is still pushing towards that Leones area, so it is anybody's guess. If we go to Leones, we could end up on that western industrial side of Leones or that north side farm zone.
Well, let's see who's going to get what. It is going to be the push now. Phase 4 about to pop. The teams now will have to figure out how on earth are they going to get themselves situated. The reveal will be now, as it does take us a little bit further to the north. But look at this influence, though. Bumping heads with Game On. Let's see whether or not Game On can lock it in. Oh, no, that's not going to work out for them. Those nades, though, the shotties, everything popping off. But a good call being made here by Game On, right? Getting in the vehicle, getting the heck out of dodge, and focusing on zone positioning as we are going to be heading further up north. And this is where I say Resilience still holding on to a good angle here alongside the players from Team Liquid. But now it is going to be Alpha 7 and iNCO Gaming getting ready for a little bit of an up and down battle. Alpha 7, out they go. 5 eliminations up.
In 17th place, DK, we still have 16 players in, or 16 teams in this zone. We are in zone 4. Look at all the teams that are still pushing into this North Leones zone.
Yeah, so many more trying to squeeze in. Even ice cream starting to melt in the sunlight. But let's see. Can Remix come up with a strong play here? I mean, this is an interesting angle coming through here from 9Z, of course. Now I'm going to try and maybe make a little bit of something happen over here. But now it is going to be Team Liquid who will have their position challenge. Straight out of NEPAL, going to be pushing in from the southern side. iNCO coming through from the northern side. So this is going to be a Liquid sandwich. Ayala getting dropped on down Mythic. Now going to try and hold steady. Oh, pretty much focused onto the edge here. As you can see, Chief also just trying to figure out which way is going to be the best way to wiggle, as the positions are getting pretty tight at this point. TGAMES, though, they have quite a bit of a hurdle ahead of them. Right, how will they get into zone? Are they going to try and work their way through the players here from 9Z, or will they maybe go elsewhere? No, it is going to be go time as the shots come in. That's 9Z reduced down to a solo. It is Remix now getting pushed all the way to their limits. Can they close it up? It is going to be NC7 coming in hot, swinging. But Remix still holding on. Up comes Little Boy, and this is going to be the side of INF trying to clutch it out. 5 eliminations up. Can they find more?
Something about coming in on a third party, DK. You can find yourself being part of that fourth party and instantly regret your decision to try to get some of the fight in front of you because you've got 2 teams looking at you from other directions. So right when 9Z got into this fight with TGAMES, Influence Rage came up and started, oh, there goes Team Liquid on the other side. So we have got the 2 sides, East and West, in head-to-head actions. 3, 4, 5 teams coming in only in the East and West points. The rest of these teams are working their way into the zone.
Yeah, that's what they're going to have to do. Smoking vehicles. Diego, you need to go to the mechanic because that's not healthy. Let's see, though. Oh, trying to get up behind the car, and the car's like, nope, I'm not having any of this. I'll just casually, slowly move out of the way. Diego's like, come here, bro. We're going to have to go the other way. The zone's not that way. The zone is forward. But yeah, Dauntless, Game On, as well as Savage, all going to have to try and squeeze in alongside Influence Rage. And of course, right, there's not many options remaining. A lot of the good choices here has already been occupied. But I think the big one is, of course, where the zone is going to go. Because if it pulls south, almost there, they're going to be feeling quite happy with their decision here. But if it goes north, that is going to be Resilience smiling. right? Because they are right there on the money. But speaking about the North, look at Luna. They're starting to poke and prod. They are looking for weaknesses. They are looking for vulnerabilities. They want to try and find another opportunity to try and capitalize yet again.
I feel like Savage Esports is getting ready to come right down onto Team Salame, but Team Salame also has Influence Rage. Was that Influence Rage right over there to the south of them? So we're going to have another salami sandwich right over here in just a matter of moments. Yes, it was Influence Rage. And, ooh, TGAMES. I didn't even realize that we had one over there as well. So we did have 4 teams over on this western edge. And now look at all the red. I am seeing so many red tags right in front of me, DK. We have Savage face to face with Team Salame. Oh! Right around that corner into that. I believe it was a DBS or S. Well, I didn't even catch
DBS.
which 12 gauge sandwich that one got delivered.
That was a 12 gauge N-gauge. And speaking about N-gauge, look at little boy S12K. Right into the side of Salame. Out they go. 10 eliminations now up for INF here, and still a long, long way to go. We still have 26 players alive. 10 teams kicking it out in the dust over here. But now, Dauntless, so far, down to a 2-piece. No points to show for the game. Can they lock in points? Green, we got to get Dauntless to get something going
right,
over here. Because I want to see the points.
Valak gets knocked by almost there. FR99 coming right up on top of. And now here is your answer, DK. Dauntless. Wancho trying to get those angles, trying to hold him off, trying to stay out of the molly. We got sticky bombs even coming up into Wancho. Wancho trying to get down back into Valak to try to get Valak back up, but all 4 of them from almost there are all coming around in. Wancho not able to hold off the push with the mollies, the nades, and the 4-man push by almost there.
Well, let's see what's going to happen here. Can Luna find a way in? 1 elimination up. Not quite exactly what we've seen before, but hey, you know what? There's still a lot of room for some changes to come in here. Straight out of Nepal, Wolf up on the hill. That engine howling as they get ready to push on forward, flying off the side, because why? Physics. Just do whatever you gotta to get off the side. Now, safely in zone. This, of course, presents a big opportunity for the side here of Resilience to lock it in. Molina is going to be cautiously just waiting to see what Hyde and Wolf are going to be bringing to the table. But for the meantime, they find themselves in a bit of a standoff. Now, Luna, the blue is going to start tickling their heels just about now. So they're going to have to find a quick way to get the goodness out of Dodge and get back into the zone.
DK, Influence Rage. We've been watching them do that edge zone sweep. They are up to 10 eliminations now. Luna. Oh, Luna is getting punished trying to get into this zone straight on the ball. Wolf, a candle. Coming in trying. Ooh, Luna, who took you out? They got found by Zero Mercy and Resilience. So Luna pushing right up and in onto several teams that stop them from coming into this late stage zone. We are in. Ooh, Wolf getting found from Resilience from across the top. Resilience did see them come down. Wolf in his flying mobile off the top of the mountain.
Well, let's see now. Can Game On continue to get their game on? 1 player left. It's not a very good number to have, especially looking at the amount of teams we still have kicking it over here. It's going to be Resilience, almost an Influence, looking pretty strong. Ooh, but now I say that an Influence are taking a few hits on the vehicle. Fortunately for them, there's only 1 player that we can see is maybe posing a little bit of opposition to them, but it might not be too much of an issue if they can sort it out. Almost, they've been really quiet. Because you can see only 2 eliminations coming up to them. But this is going to be Diego and the rest of INF just flying in. Cars just cartwheeling over the edge of the mountain. Game on, getting themselves a good spread here. But this is going to be that ticket now for Almost. You can see them all just quickly hopping in the vehicles. They want to get a slice of the action. They want to throw their cars off of places. And now, let's see who's going to be one to bag that, that play.
That was 2 nights in a row that you got to see some absolute chaos with flying mobiles. You thought tires were useful? Well, let's just get some air between them. So now we are Influence Rage still on that blue zone sweep. Up to 12 eliminations. You can now see that straight out Nepal does have to push into resilience. We've got all these teams that need to push into other teams. These teams are stacked on top of each other. We've got Influence Rage dominating this western edge, and now it looks like they got their sights over onto resilience, and resilience is right on that edge, but they got straight out Nepal right across from them as well. Ooh, and they didn't. They switched their sights up onto Almost There, who are in a compound in that North Leones area.
Oh, the pressure is on here, Green. The North essentially wide open for the taking. Nobody has planted their flag there just yet. I say that, and up comes Resilience moving forward, but it is going to be a very vulnerable play to try and make here. But if Resilience can get themselves situated, they have control of a big chunk of the zone. And with that, it is going to be Saz getting some of that sass now being thrown at them. Wolf trying to play a bit of hide and seek, but gets spotted. Out they go. Yeah, Wolf was almost there, but then Almost There is like, nah, you're not. Down you go. Back to the lobby. Now Solomon going to try and see if they can bring a little bit of that heat in, as well as he quickly relocating, trying to find an angle ahead of zone. But look at this, almost getting closer and closer. The blue is going to be sweeping on up. Phase 8's about to hit, and with that, 6-9 go down. Almost There with a beautiful hit into the frog. Now let's see, can the rest of Zero Mercy reclaim that ground? The answer is no. Almost There. We're going to try and take it all the way. They want to get their hands on that winner chicken dinner.
They're calling Influence Rage. They're thinking Resilience. Look at this. They are tied at 35. And now look at Influence Rage does have Resilience right there, but Resilience is behind that crate, the crate holding them down. And here comes the blue, Almost There, trying to get that res off, but the blue has already pushed in. And there goes Zero Mercy out to the blue. As we have said, the blue, you cannot let it touch you in these late stages. And we're down to the top 3 teams. DK, we got Influence Rage, we've got Resilience, and Almost There. Almost There cannot stay in this blue zone. Ooh, we are down to FR99, and he is trying to get his teammates picked up, but he has to get to zone. He's gonna have to get out into this wide open space. There are no nice places left. We have Influence Rage already calling the only real hard cover. They're home already, and we've got Resilience just trying to hold on to that northeast edge. Almost There. Difficult push to come in that wide open.
Yeah, I think Influence, they could definitely have this one in the bag, right? They have a good controlling possession of the zone. I don't see Resilience really kind of getting momentum out of nowhere. Almost There. They did bring in quite a good push here, but so far, it's not necessarily working out in their favor just yet. So it is still kind of a 3-way split, but I'd say it is leaning a little bit more in favor here of Influence and Resilience, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Almost well, came close, but not quite there. So it's going to be a pretty tough angle here for either of these teams now to try and cover. Resilience trying to get themselves spread out. It is, of course, phase number 9. So the closer you are to center, the better your odds are, especially if it's as hidden as we can see it now being there. That's a beautiful ridge coming into play. Now, Influence, this is their opportunity to find Almost, but also to get found out by Almost as the angles connect on through. Law trying to duck down on the edge. Little boy getting shot through the door. Down he goes. Wolf trying to double down on the aggression. A quick little bit of a relocation coming in here, but of course to get to them, you have to step out through the blue itself. Now Resilience trying to lock it in. Almost there, goes down. The two teams that I thought were going to make it to the end are right on the money. Now, it does seem like the favor is in the side of Resilience. They have the numbers, they have the odds, but can they bag it? It is 4 elims versus 12. Resilience Esports could see that chicken coming their way.
We've got, let's see, we're down to just a duo now for Influence Rage. Influence Rage is in center zone though. I was trying to see where exactly that center up was. And Influence Rage going out in second place with 12 eliminations. But GG's to Resilience. There it is, DK. Tonight's final winners, Resilience.
Yep, they showed us that they have the resilience to persevere. They pushed it to the very end, coming through with their hands on that winner chicken dinner. But you got to give it up though, right? Influence, they came so close. They almost had it, but unfortunately, almost is not quite enough. Speaking about almost there. Well, they were also almost there, right? Coming close to finishing with an exceptional play in this final few zones. But again, the lobby not going to allow any second chances. If you are in the wrong spot, that's it. Your ticket gets punched and back you go. And you can only come back again tomorrow to try and change the situation. So, yeah, a very exciting Miramar. But, of course, speaking about the excitement, we are going to be taking a look at that breakdown of for the team. So, let's take a look at the team stats right here for Resilience. As you can see, Marion coming through with 1 elimination. Cardi C also with 1. Saz with 1. And Molina picking up 5. So, a lot of hard work being done here by Molina to carry the team over the
ridge,
the line.
But look at the damage, though. The damage is much more shuffled than I would have expected. I would have expected Molina to have the 722 damage. So we gotta give a shout out to Spaz as well for all that damage.
Yeah, it is pretty great though. Speaking about great, look at this. Resilience, 18 points. Influence Rage, 18 points. Almost there. 10 points. The only 3 squads to walk away with the double digits. As you can see, Zero Mercy, they came through on 8. iNCO bagging 7. But Action, Dauntless, and VRZ getting nothing for this game. Action, they're not going to be too phased because, as I said before, they like to go aggressive, and boy, oh boy, have they gone aggressive in just the past 2 days of play. But there we have it. 5 matches concluded here today. As you can see, there is our spread of the teams who've been able to bag the chickens. Alpha 7 coming through with the fattest chicken of the day, 13 eliminations. And aside from that, everybody else got pretty close to hitting double digits. Luna, of course, a very strong victory that we saw from them in the previous match all the way back on Erangel. But you got to love this, though, Green. I mean, the teams are stepping it up. We've got different squads rocking up to the table with those chickens. And I want to see what day 3 is going to have for us.
Yes, because yesterday we had the craziness of Team Salame taking home 2 double back-to-back winner chicken dinners. They had the takeout ready. But tonight, I'm not seeing a whole lot from Team Salame. So I'm not sure if the teams have really done their homework and made sure that they stayed away, or maybe hit them up. You never know. But we are halfway through the Continental League stage. So in the next 2 days are going to really let us know who is really bringing home all the chicken.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be either bringing home the chicken or bringing home the bacon or whatever you want to call it. Somebody's going to be bringing something somewhere. And of course, as we know, only the top few teams can qualify to move through into the finals. So it's going to be an interesting play to see who's going to be the ones to do exactly that. But first things first, we've got to take a look at our MVPs, the overall MVPs. It is still going to be Law holding steady here. Diego also coming through then with 17 eliminations behind the 23 from Law. We do see Dior's also then stepping up. Lorenzen coming up here as well. I think Revo was on here already coming into the day, but a very good showing coming through from all our players here. Very impressive bits of action. I mean, 3,700 damage being done by Law and a heavy hand. 20 grenades getting chucked out all over the place. No surprise to see Law sitting there and laying down the law, right? This is how it's done. Speaking about this is how it's done. Influence Rage, 1 point away from breaking a century, right? They have had an absolutely crazy running. Yesterday, they ended the day on 54 points, if I remember correctly. Here we go, though, with 99. So close. Alpha 7, of course, right there on their heels of 16 points away. 10 points from that is Salame. And then 4 points from that is where we find iNCO. Action is also not too far away either. 12-point drop. And then it gets really close, right? You can see 1 point, 2 points, 5 points, 1. Oh, the top 11 is going to be a very pretty sweaty play. I think especially coming into day 3 and day 4.
DK, though, look at the top of the leaderboard and the bottom of the leaderboard. What do you see in common? That is what's really catching my attention. That yellow line, no movement. So that means these teams are really starting to cement their places. This is the halfway point. They do need to step it up or step it on home.
Yeah, and of course, as we know, that is going to be the eventuality for a few of the squads here, right? If you can't do enough to qualify, it is what it is, right? You've met the end of the road, but we are still a good way away from that. Of course, the end of the road is only going to come in 2 days. As you said, we've now hit the halfway point. So whatever the teams on the right side of that page have not been able to accomplish yet, they have one more day, I would say, to really try and bring in massive change, right? Now, I wouldn't say that's necessarily a concern for all the teams on the right-hand side. I would say it extends, it's kind of safe all the way to maybe 14th, 15th position. But beyond that point, right, you want to have a phenomenal day 3 and an even better day 4 if you want to make it into the finals.
Yep, but tonight it is the end. DK, so we gotta say goodnight and we get to start tomorrow with the final 10 matches of the Continental League stage. So shout out to each and every one of you. Have a great night. Stay safe, DK, and I will see you tomorrow night. Good night, everyone.